In 2012, something amazing happened in London. And it was between Anthony Joshua and Erislandy Savon. Now, when I look at Anthony Joshua here, I see a young man chasing a dream. I see a young man with aspirations. I see a young man with aspirations. Yo, give me a second because I'm hearing an echo on this. Apologize for the technical difficulties. I saw a young man that belonged in the Olympic qualifying games. I saw a young man, even to this day, he's been proving and showing that he belongs in the world stage against the best of what boxing has to offer. Even though he lost twice to Usyk, he showed me in the second fight that he's able to make adjustments and gave fans a quality fight, a fight worth of remembrance. When I go back in 2012 and see a young man compete versus Erislandy Savon, he was in that fight. In the first round, second round, they were really close. Even in the third round, they were really close. Up until like the last minute, Erislandy Savon took it up a next gear and essentially beat Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is just a young man that has overachieved at the highest level. This was never part of the plan. He wasn't supposed to win gold, but he did. Now, whether we think it's fair or not, the judges thought so. Whether we want to say it was corruption or the casinos or promoters or networks or stadiums, they had a big vision that Anthony Joshua would eventually fill these places with fans and money and cash flow. That's not Anthony Joshua's fault. Anthony Joshua proved to us time and time and again that he belongs at this world stage, at this level amongst the elites. Whether he comes up short or they give him the gold or they fabricate a career, Anthony Joshua, with his hard work and limited experience, shows that he belongs at the biggest stage. He belongs and demands your attention, and we should respect it. Now, the question that I pose is, do we care how it happens, where it happens, and when it happens, or just that it happens in general? Do we care that Anthony Joshua lost to Erislandy Savon but got rewarded the gold medal? Do we care about that? Do we care that he lost against Alexander Usyk or that he rematches him? Do we care enough? And the reality is, yes, we do. And we do care about this sport of boxing, and we care about the career of Anthony Joshua, because in my limited experience about watching boxing, amateurs and pros, fighting in it and training youths, two things have happened in the past when we think about robberies in the sport of boxing, especially in the amateur circuit. One of the things that we think about is the robbery of Roy Jones Jr. versus Park Si-hoon. And we think about another robbery of Floyd Mayweather versus Serafim Todorov. To my knowledge, the last guy that beat Floyd Mayweather, Serafim Todorov, never laced up a glove ever after, let alone in the professional games. Same thing could be said about the guy who beat Roy Jones Jr., Park Si-hoon. I believe both of these guys never turned pro after receiving their gold medal and eliminating Roy Jones and Floyd Mayweather. The thing that interests me most about Anthony Joshua is he was rewarded the gold medal when he in fact lost, and then his career took off. This is what interests me because it's a beautiful lie of what this man has been able to make out of it. But the hard truth is, Shit, you guys know the hard truth. The hard truth is he didn't win it. The beautiful lie is we don't really care about it because we want to go to these stadiums. We want to take out our phone and record. We want to be there. And man, we shook Anthony Joshua's hand. I saw this amazing fight with Vladimir Klitschko, with Alexander Usyk, with Erislandy Savon. And it's okay to feel that way because in life, it's all about creating memories. It's all about being alive and living the moment. So I ask you guys, do we care enough? When I look at Anthony Joshua, he's a guy that belongs at this world stage. Yeah, where's the link? Man, bro, y'all always interrupt me, bro. Even when you guys are not here, you guys interrupt me. It's the craziest shit. And I'm going to add you to it. I'm a big fan of Anthony Joshua. Up, man? What's going on, Drew? I'm a big fan of Anthony Joshua. I will continue to be a fan of Anthony Joshua. If he gives us the Deontay Wilder fight, I'm all for it. Because we're no closer than we are now than we were then. To my knowledge, I don't even think a contract has been signed. Maybe a contract has been sent. What happened then doesn't matter. If it's his fault or Wilder's fault, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter that Joshua was rewarded the gold. Because it proved to me that he belonged against Erislandy Savon. Yes, he came up short, and maybe through corruption or the judges or the Olympic circuit, everybody benefited from Joshua, right? Like we benefited from watching him versus Vladimir Klitschko, like those amazing 24 rounds with Alexander Usyk. And if he's going to give us Deontay Wilder, man, it's just icing on the cake.
Yeah, man, this thing's gonna. I feel like.
I'm not done, bro. I'm not done.
All right, go ahead, man.
Opening, bro.
Go ahead, man.
So one thing about Anthony Joshua is I do care that corruption exists, and it saddens me. But at the same time, had Erislandy Savon won, would have been another story like Park Sin-hoon, right? What about Serafim Todorov? These guys never went pro. If Anthony Joshua doesn't win that gold medal, he doesn't fill out these stadiums. Maybe he does. Maybe he still teams up with Eddie Hearn.
He does.
But what I've noticed about amateur boxers is sometimes those promoters don't come out calling. For instance, Ruben Villa had an opportunity, or when I spoke to him before he turned pro, I asked him once, yo, bro, how come you didn't sign to Top Rank in ESPN? What about Golden Boy? And what he told me was after he lost to Shakur Stevenson in the Olympic Games, he told me none of them called. None of them called him. No one picked up the phone. He signed with a small-time promoter named Thompson Boxing. He was fighting on Facebook Lives. And then now he gets the ESPN contract. That might have been the same road to Anthony Joshua. Maybe he has a tough time finding promoters. Maybe he doesn't. I'm not going to sit here and justify the corruption. But again, whether it's me or anybody else, do we care enough about it? Anyway, what's going on, Drew?
What's up, man? How you been, man? Good. Yeah, man. This fight is going to happen, bro. Like, I'm kind of wishful thinking a little. But my sources and my credible sources are telling me that this fight is going to happen next. I think the amount of money Deontay Wilder is going to be offered, it's going to be hard for him to say no, and it's going to be a little easier for him to negotiate with AJ. But I don't think it's even going to be the main event. I'm hearing it's going to be a Tyson Fury Usyk undercard. You know, obviously, if Tyson Fury manages to get and he will get away from Ngannou easily. Yeah, this fight, I don't know. Eddie Hearn's talking like it's gonna happen. So I don't know. I think AJ did what he needed to do to make this fight. He pretty much met the promoters halfway. You know, he made it easier to get this fight done with the KO, regardless of the round, and actually AJ, the commentators were saying that AJ was holding back a little, but I don't think so. I think he really was struggling to have a hard time. I think his flaws really showed. But man, this guy fills stadiums. This guy's a hype machine, bro. Like the amount of money that Deontay's gonna get offered is just too much. And this guy AJ is just easy, just a really easy dude to promote because of his looks. This guy, has it all. I'm not going to use the word Adonis like you do, but this dude looks like a souped up To or something, like. But yeah, man, this guy is actually gonna, I think obviously he might lose to Deontay, but I don't think he cares about the outcome, man. I think this is life-changing money, and I'm hearing it's gonna be like a hundred mil, per guy. So, man, that type of money, that's a generational wealth, regardless of the country you live in. Yeah, man, that fight's gonna happen. Fingers crossed in January, Saudi Arabia, calling it now.
Yeah, no, I think just like any of the fights in boxing, that the fights will eventually happen. But here's the question, though, right? It's like, do we care when they happen, right? Like, for instance, we had to watch Manny Pacquiao lose to Bradley and get knocked out by Juan Manuel Marquez, and then years later we got the Floyd Mayweather fight. We just saw Anthony Joshua lose all his belts, have amazing fights with Usyk, a decent fight with Jermaine Taylor, and then a decent fight with Robert Helenius. It wasn't even Jermaine Taylor. I forgot what's the other guy's name. I'm running a blank right now.
His last opponent you're talking about?
Not Robert Helenius, but the guy before that.
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah, but I don't think it's Jermaine Taylor. It's got to be something else.
Franklin or something like
Jermaine
that, right?
Franklin. There you go, Jermaine Franklin.
Yeah.
So it took at this moment, right? When we talk about Anthony Joshua, when we talk about the heavyweight division, we talk about the big boys. We talk about big moments, big knockouts. And Wilder's 40 years old. Anthony Joshua looking to be a shell of himself, very hesitant, very reluctant to let the punches go and his combinations. So I know the fights will eventually happen, but it's really important to know when they happen. And
so this fight's been brewing.
Journey to what leads up to, like, we get the fights when we get them.
Yeah, no, this fight has been brewing for at least 6 years, bro. It's been at least probably more than that, since they were both champions. Dude, this fight has been brewing to the point where people just want to see it. People just want to see the outcome, and they don't care about who has a belt or if neither of them do. This fight is a 6-6 versus 6-7, dude. UK versus USA. It can't get any bigger than that, man. This is gonna be an all-time fight. Because of their names alone. AJ just filled up a whole entire stadium his last fight, and it wasn't even for no belt, or was it for a belt? No, it wasn't. So, yeah, man. If he can do that, and you got Deontay star power, he's pretty much, 1B to Tyson Fury. So I mean, man, I just don't want to see a fourth fight between him and Fury. Anything but that. It just.
But why? Those were great fights.
It keeps happening. The same results keep happening, and I prefer a different style of fight with Fury. Like I said, I like boxing in order. I like Usyk versus Fury, but that fight is somehow not happening, and it's complete bullshit, to be honest. And that's the fight that I asked for right there. But yeah, I think that would give him trouble, obviously, because he would be the smaller man. But I don't want to see the same fight over and over, man. He's gonna give us the same results, man. Except next time I'm gonna put my house on it.
Check this out. So, do you care that AJ and Wilder is gonna happen in Saudi Arabia? Shouldn't that fight belong to the UK fan base or the US fan base, or one fight should happen there, one fight should happen over here?
No, I think that fight should happen in Vegas. I think Vegas is number one. You know, if that can't happen, then Saudi Arabia, bro, because that type of money would generate so much, um, and that's good for boxing.
Right.
Um,
So this is the way I look at it, right? Everybody wants financial literacy. Everybody wants generational wealth, right?
mm,
But at what cost? Not in terms of the corruption or cleaning money or,
mm,
trying to do a buildup. What I'm trying to say
mm,
is this: whatever that fight generates or whatever Saudi is putting up, do you care if that fight happens in Saudi Arabia? You said it should happen in Las Vegas. The UK audience and the UK fans are going to be like, no, it should happen here in London, where it all started when Anthony Joshua won gold, when he became a
mhm.
champion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
Right?
good. Good
While other
point.
fans might be like, nah, it should happen in Tuscaloosa, Alabama,
Hmm.
where it all started here when he was, a Pepsi Coca-Cola driver. Bring it
Hmm.
back home here. One fight here, one fight over here. All of a
Sponsored by
sudden, Saudi
Coca-Cola.
Arabia is a big player,
Hmm.
and then they're making all these fights happen. Are they manipulating the market? Are they trying to create a new market, new stadiums to breed the next Las Vegas in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and
Mm,
all these little places? But do we care? So,
mm. Yeah, no, I just thought of that. I was
so
like
check this
thinking,
out. You said
UK
that it's a
fights.
big fight.
Yeah,
Joshua is
UK.
a huge star now, like he was then. But the
No, yeah.
significance and the meaning, Wilder was undefeated. He had the WBC belt. See, timing is everything,
Hmm.
right? Joshua was undefeated. He had 3 belts. Is the fight bigger then, or is the fight bigger now?
It was bigger then. There's no belts in the line. I think we're
Well,
just
how do you
getting.
know that though? You just told me right now that it was 6 years that it marinated. 6 years
Mhm.
of marination is much huger now than it is then, and they're belt.
because we have some answers as to who these fighters are. Except one knows himself better than the other. Himself, by the way, like Deontay knows himself way better than AJ. You know, so we got some answers. But the thing is, they're the same product. I believe they're the same product as they were years back when this was first getting talked about. And I think still at the same level in a sense. They just found out what level they were in at a certain point in their careers. You know, but I still want to see it. I still want to see their product. I still want to see their product in the ring together. You know, yeah, man. This
So
fight is.
you think a 40-year-old Deontay Wilder with Malik Scott is better than a 32-year-old undefeated Wilder under Mark Breland? Do you think that Anthony
Hmm.
Joshua with his trainer undefeated in 3 belts,
Mm.
he's better now with Derrick James?
Well, I definitely. He's still timid, but his track record shows he's been on a win streak. Oh wait, no, he lost with Derek James when he fought Usyk, right?
Nah, he had his first trainer, the one that trains all the Olympic circuits in the UK.
Right.
His name is not running through my mind right now. And then he made the adjustment and he just kept Angel Fernandez, let
Mm.
go of his main time trainer, and then he hired Robert Garcia as an assistant or a specialist.
Okay,
Soon
okay, yeah,
after that, then he got Derrick James, and
yeah. I
then
heard somewhere he
now
was on the.
Robert Garcia and all this shit.
Yeah, I heard somewhere he was. I read somewhere he was on a win streak with Derek James. So I think what I like Derek James's advice towards like AJ in the corner. He really shows him like how to like throw punches and like him being a former boxer himself, especially as a big man, he knows how hard it is to really move around at that size. Um, and I think he definitely like improved a little. He's still timid. Uh, as you seen his last fight, he just let that right hand go. He pretty much said, "Trust me, man. Just let that right hand go, and you'll land." And that's what happened. He knocked him out. Knocked him out at a later point in the fight, but I think that right hand could have landed way earlier in the fight. Is what I'm trying to say. And there's a lot of room for AJ to grow, and I think AJ won't take Wilder lightly. So I think anything can happen, man. We're just saying yesterday, anything can happen in the heavyweight division. That's why we want to see it. especially everyone what got was a believer, made a believer in AJ when he beat Klitschko. You know, that was like, wow, this guy's like the real deal. You know, and then they seen that he had cracks in his game and stuff like that. So stuff kind of exposed. He kind of got exposed throughout the years, but I think he's still an elite heavyweight, and I think he's still capable of shocking people. You know, uh, so yeah, man. I think what was the question again? I forgot what was your question. It was really quick.
Well, I think you answered it.
Yeah.
I asked, you think the Wilder of then with Mark Breland and undefeated and having the WBC
Mhm.
belt is
Oh
a
yeah.
better
So
version than he
mhm.
is now, and Anthony Joshua
Because-
as well. You're saying he is. I
yeah,
actually think quite the opposite. I think
really.
Anthony Joshua with Rob McCracken, right, when he had all those belts, I
Hmm.
thought he was very aggressive, and he let the combinations and he let his talent show. He was
Hmm.
aggressive. He was mean,
Hmm.
right? That fight with Klitschko was amazing. But
Hmm.
we're talking about a guy who was retired from 2 years and 41 or 43 years old when he fought Joshua, or maybe 38 years old. I don't really remember.
Oh wow.
Right? And he was coming off a loss versus Tyson Fury. So
Mm.
he showed that he belonged. I mean, mind you, this is a guy with only like barely 20 professional fights, fighting a gold medalist in Klitschko, a guy who's been dominating the heavyweight division for a decade.
Yeah.
And he has 20 amateur fights or so. So he's showing us that he belongs, and he's fucking entertaining. He's he's an amazement park essentially. The
Hmm.
shows, the stage being lifted on the crane,
Hmm.
him walking out there like a fucking Greek god type of shit on that white and black robe.
I'll
It's
say
quite majestic, right? Everybody, the stadium fills out in those Liverpool or London stadiums. Everyone has their phone out. It looks like a fucking dream, something out of DreamWorks, right?
I'm just glad you didn't say Adonis this time.
Nah, but I look at it and I see Wilder, who isn't really about legacy right now. It's all
Hmm.
about money,
Hmm.
right? Fighting Joshua gives you both, gives you legacy. But when we look at all the fights that we missed or maybe could have happened, I'm thinking about Juan Manuel Marquez and Miguel Cotto. Hell, sometimes you even think about maybe at one point Pacquiao versus Canelo. I mean, Canelo fought Shane Mosley, right? Canelo fought Floyd. What if Pacquiao and Canelo? There's so many fights that could have happened that
Hmm.
just never did, whether it was timing or certain things. So,
I think
are we going to get this fight soon? Is it going to be next for Joshua, or are we going to continue to wait? And to be honest with you, I don't know, man. I
I'll
know
tell
that
you.
Eddie Hearn and Joshua right now are giving out interviews, and
Mhm.
they're controlling the narrative. Oh, I want Joshua next, Wilder next. I want to knock his block off, and all these things. I don't really believe
No,
it, man.
yeah, no, I see what you're saying because I was expecting Deontay to fight Andy Ruiz. I was like, okay, this fight's gonna happen. Um, so I think Deontay really kind of sticks his guns when he like negotiates, and you're right, he's all about the money, bro. So him turning down that, or Andy in reality actually turned it down. He sent the offer, uh, but I guess they can't send a counter offer, is what I'm guessing. Because if that's the case, I mean, I don't know if Deontay was willing to fight for less than what he, negotiated for initially. But yeah, man, Deontay's still dangerous though. So I think that's probably why people are like turning him down still. Deontay still has that knockout power in one punch. Tyson Fury, I said yesterday, believes that he knocks him out in one round. He's willing to put $1 million on it. So that really got my pockets jumping and and ready to deposit on the Bovada really quick. But yeah, man. If this fight happens, when this fight happens, I'll be happy. But I'm feeling extra optimistic nowadays because of what I'm seeing on social media. I'm kind of, keeping my fingers crossed on this, but no, I'm kind of I'm wishful thinking right now in reality.
So
Uh,
Anthony Joshua said something really interesting, right?
mhm.
When they asked him in the post-fight presser or after the fight, they asked him, "So what'd you think about your performance, Joshua?" He goes, "I don't really judge my performances. I let my trainer tell
Oh
me
my! Did
these."
AJ say that?
He said that, and he goes basically saying that he's gonna leave it up to Derrick James to judge him, and then he's gonna give him instructions and what to work on and get better. Right.
Oh my god.
So I
See, man,
say that because I want to ask you, what did you think about Joshua's performance versus Robert Helenius?
I thought it was kind of trash at first. Not horrible, but I was like, all right, you're pretty much back to where you're at like the last fight. Like you're still struggling against this level, this level of fighter you're struggling against still. And he was just getting out timed the first couple rounds. I thought he was trying to, like, I don't know, he was just getting beat to the punch, bro. Like Helenius was really standing his ground for the first couple rounds, and you could even see him in the corner, frustrated. You see Derrick James just trying to give him instruction exactly how to throw the punch and what combination to throw. He's like doing it for him. He's looking away, like, and I could see the frustration in his face, you know, and I just think he got frustrated enough to throw that right hand, and when it landed, he got him flush with the KO in the 7th round, and I still see the frustration. That's the part that I want him to do good. That's the thing. I want to see this guy beat Deontay because I think he can. Like, I think he can be a legit fighter. He's like another like Teofimo or something, man. This guy's mentality is just all twacked out. I don't know. It's just weird, you know. Yeah, man. He's kind of one of those guys that his brain, his mind is his own enemy. And those type of fighters just unpredictable. And that's why I feel like, you know, oh, who's this guy? All right. But yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, the AJ can still surprise us. He's another Teofimo, man. He can shock us all, you know. That's why I want to see it. If I wouldn't be surprised, obviously, if he gets the knockout, I'll be having my bets on that. You know, but I'm ready to get shocked. You know, this is why I love boxing. You know, anyone can get shocked. Yeah,
for sure. All right, Drew, on the private chat, I'll let you know who he was. They say that he is alrighty. All right, Tistaror, I got a question for you, brother. What did you think about Anthony Joshua? What's going on, bro?
Joshua's a savage, bro. I didn't see the fight. I just catch the highlights, but I mean, that was a late replacement guy, right?
Yes, sir. Late replacement.
Late replacement. Looked like a true Viking fucking guy, man. He took a good shot, but fuck, man, put him out, right? Fuck. I mean, shit. I feel bad for the guy. You know, he's late replacement. Anthony Joshua's not his fault. You know, fuck it. I think he's definitely a very athletic heavyweight. I think he gets tired in the late rounds. Shit. If you're talking about Deontay Wilder, Joshua, I mean, I personally like Deontay Wilder. Just that one hitter quitter, you know, that knockout power, that crazy strength, just wild shot, you know.
Yeah, he can connect at any moment.
Yeah, and I don't think Anthony Joshua has the best defense, especially not in the late rounds. You know, I think he'll get caught.
I think when Deontay gets caught,
I mean, but then again,
yeah. Have you seen when Deontay gets caught?
Well,
oh, who's this? AJ?
Deontay Wilder. Well,
but yeah, no, I think because I seen Wilder against King Kong. And I seen the first, right? And I remember when King Kong almost got him down, and I was, oh my God, just get him already, you know? And I feel like AJ is capable of finishing that job, you know, that King Kong is able to do. You know, I think he laid out the blueprint for him. But yet you just can't predict that right hand, man. Like it's like one of those things where you just wake up on the floor. That's how it is. I heard it is getting punched by Wilder.
Who's got the better resume, Wilder or Joshua?
Wilder.
I think Wilder has the higher KO ratio.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like 99% knockout ratio. Yeah.
No. That's like his stats. But who's got the better resume?
Resume. Well, champions fighting champions. Well, you gotta say Joshua. Joshua beat the
That's Wilder,
Klitschko
bro.
brother, right? He beat
Yeah,
the
so
Klitschko.
Wilder's got the trilogy with Tyson Fury, right? He's got him 3 times, and he's got
Oh, okay, and then he got
Ortiz
Stavern.
twice.
What he calls Bermain Stavern.
and Bermain
He beat
Stiverne
his ass
and
like
Archer
twice.
Spilka.
Yeah.
That's probably that's Wilder's. Anthony Joshua's got Klitschko. He's got Joseph Parker, Andy Ruiz twice. He's got Alexander Usyk twice. It's much more diverse. You can even incorporate Dylan White. I don't really rank Dylan White really well, but he is still like a top 10 heavyweight if we're going to put up there with Archer Spilka. I think when it comes down to like variety, right? You give it, and you got Charles the Prince Martin. The reason I even bring him up, even though Joshua made him look easy work, is he gave King Kong Ortiz a good ass fight.
And Jared Anderson.
And Jared Anderson, correct. So maybe that Charles Martin is aging well for Anthony Joshua,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he's doing extremely well
Yeah,
as of right now.
That win is aging well.
So I'm gonna give Joshua the better resume. It's much more versatile, and there's many more undefeated fighters. Wilder just has King Kong Ortiz, which is an amazing fighter, and he's got Tyson Fury. Now I gotta ask you this: who's faced the bigger punchers? Has Joshua faced bigger punchers or Wilder?
That's a good question.
I want to
man.
Who hits harder, Andy Ruiz or King Kong Ortiz?
Dude, I'm looking at their resume right now. I'm trying to look.
King Kong.
I think
I'd say King Kong. I mean,
wait, I thought you were comparing
ahead,
Wilder and AJ.
Yeah, we comparing resumes. We comparing who's fought the better opposition, the bigger punchers. Because I want to lead up to who's chinnier.
I'd have to say AJ. I mean, Wilder's fought the harder punchers. In my opinion.
All right, so King Kong Ortiz is supposed to be the puncher, but he didn't knock down Andy Ruiz once at all. Andy Ruiz dropped him 3 times.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
and then Tyson Fury really isn't a big puncher, but Klitschko is. He's got the knockouts.
Styles makes fight, man. Sometimes it just don't make sense,
I know styles make fights. I know it's that old adage, but it's all about preparation.
Yeah, but what about?
That's one thing we don't know. We never knew. Look, and it all comes down to preparation and a trainer and what you're training for fight night. Sure, if you watch Floyd Mayweather's fights, he's always gonna quote unquote use a shoulder roll, right? You already know what he's more or less going to do. Have offset rhythm, sometimes lead with the 2. It's going to change his flow. But if you prepare for that, for instance, when Canelo fought Floyd, he wasn't prepared for that shoulder roll. When Canelo fought, he was prepared for it, right? He knew Andre Ward was teaching him all these little tips, but he had experience. So we didn't know Tyson Fury could punch. He hadn't really been a knockout artist up until those Wilder fights, right? So when he was training under Ben Davidson, I think that's his name. Hopefully I'm not butchering it. He was very herky-jerky, just very slick fighter in the first fight. He hired, Sugar Hill from the Kronk Gym up in Detroit and just fucking blasted Wilder out. So I know styles make fights, but it's really all about your preparation. Look, bro, Joshua has a more versatile resume. He has a better resume than Wilder, right? Andy Ruiz is better than King Kong Ortiz. They fought. And Andy Ruiz hits harder than King Kong Ortiz because Andy dropped King Kong 3 times or twice in that fight. It was close. It was 6-6, but King Kong Ortiz landed some big ass shots. Andy took it well. So, and when we talk about Tyson Fury, I'm gonna say Alexander Usyk is just a better fighter and the better boxer. Because even though everyone thinks Tyson Fury is this amazing boxer, when he fought Klitschko, he just beat Klitschko at his game, which was 1-2 and hugs. That's how Klitschko dominated everybody.
Yeah.
It was year domination. It was just 1-2 and let me lean on the shorter fighter. Illegal blows, by the way. That's illegal.
Hey, check this.
And Klitschko got away with that shit for the whole time. On Saturday, we just saw Filip Hrgovic smack the fuck out of that dude so many times behind the head.
Yeah.
Like he literally stopped him and fucking lost his equilibrium doing the chicken dance from one corner because he got smacked like so many times in the back of the head and the ref just looked at him. So when you're the favorite fighter, you don't really They'd be like, "Hey, you hit him behind the head." They don't really warn him. They never really warned Klitschko for all those.
Yeah.
That's
And check this. Check this. So, back in 2015, a dude named Eric Molina fought Deontay Wilder. He
okay. What
got
about
knocked
him?
out. What?
What about him?
Oh, he fought. He also fought AJ. He fought
Yeah,
AJ months
knocked his
later,
ass out like in 2 rounds.
3 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. There's that, and maybe it's more of a styles makes fight, bro. Like maybe AJ can actually get more leverage on the short guy, and Wilder's just lengthy. All these guys, the hook, he don't really got much of a jab.
What do you think about these topics, Speed?
Oh, well, good afternoon to you, gentlemen. Okay, so we have Drew. Always a pleasure. The homie Ricky, well, thank you for the invite. And we have Tista Roar. Tista
There
Roar.
you go.
Oh,
There you
Tista
go.
Roar. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting us and for joining us, Tista Roar. So, first off, I wanted to say this, just bringing it back to the beginning. The homie Ricky, you fucked up, right? Because you were on a roll.
Oh
You
shit.
you were on a roll, man. When you started off this live. I've told you before. What I love about your lives is the introduction. That bit at the beginning the where you set the tone of what we're gonna be discussing. You allow my crusty and decrepit mind to be refreshed by the history because I forget a lot of stuff. Um, so when you start up a live, listen, just roll with the show, do your thing, 10, 20 minutes, whatever it takes. Send us the link so we can hop in there because Drew didn't know you were on a roll. He thought you were probably, feeling a bit nervous holding the show by yourself. But I especially find value in your introductions because those are historic pieces that I find a lot of valuable things to use for my own dialogue. Now, with that in mind, I wanted to state that you started off this live by insinuating that Anthony Joshua's career was manufactured, that it was plotted, and that it all harkens back to that questionable victory at the what was it? Was it 2012 Olympics? Was it? I can't remember what it was. Um, Nonetheless, you take that fight right there, and you say everything else afterwards has been an an, an organized attempt to make European and especially British heavyweight boxing a reality. Now, there may be some truth to that, and in fact, you you may have omitted, perhaps you did bring it up, that Erislandi Savon was a Cuban that has never left the island. That would likely, even with that victory, do nothing more than just take his gold medal, take it to Cuba, and be forgotten for the rest of history. Now, that's the reality of things. If that's the way that the boxing history for the heavyweight was gonna be, okay, so be it. I'm okay with that. Now, having said that, right? If Anthony Joshua had taken that loss, and in your eyes, rightfully so, I still believe that Anthony Joshua could have still made a great career because of again those Adonis-like features, and especially the bravery that he has demonstrated in his professional boxing career. Now, that pass that they gave him when it should have been a loss did, of course, open up a lot of doors. So that now Britain might say, okay, the UK might say, hey, we have a heavyweight champion. He's an elegant and beautiful man, and we're going to work with that. Now, it's what you do with those opportunities. what matters. And I always tell my children, right? You always get one chance with anybody in life, right? When you have you have a prospective employer, you talk to them, they give you a shot. Now you can take that opportunity and work diligently and earnestly and keep your nose clean, make good use of your opportunity, make some money, and allow your company to prosper as a result of your earnest efforts. That's getting a shot and making the best of it. Now, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people get shots and still ruin it. And what Anthony Joshua did with that pass is that he took that career and he justified it by taking on some of the roughest and toughest fighters as he was coming up. One of the fastest careers to building a three belt champion at heavyweight, probably as close to how quick Mike Tyson was moving. Mike Tyson didn't have a big, a long career before he started to become champion and taking on all of the toughest fighters. And if we go through the resume of Anthony Joshua, you'll see a lot of names, a lot of reputable names, creditable names like the ones that you just omitted. I can't believe you guys omitted Alexander Povetkin, a two-time Olympian, heavyweight, if I'm not mistaken, who had only lost at the hands of Vladimir Klitschko. Only at that guy who reigned for a decade did he lose to that guy. And then after 10 or so fights, he fought Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua beat his ass. Okay, this guy is an Olympian who, if you look at his knockout rate, has beaten a lot of people by knockouts and big names. We look at his record, and that guy's record is not padded. He took that guy on. And what I'm trying to say is this: you get a shot and you make the best of it. But we have other fighters that have also participated in the Olympics, and they haven't taken those same opportunities. They haven't taken those same risks to either make the best of that pass and or entertain the fans. And just for example, we have another one that we've just discussed right now, Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, if I'm not mistaken, did he win bronze in some Olympics?
The bronze bomber.
Okay, the bronze bomber. And you know what this guy did for the longest period of time? He fought no names.
Bomb squad.
Yeah, he fought no names, amassing a padded record of simple knockouts. And the day that he decided to take a harder challenge, like an incredible, and actually, in fact, it wasn't even a hard challenge. It was just a challenge that turned out to be hard with Luke Fury. All of a sudden, that's when he is exposed. If we look into the careers of both of these men and we compare, there really is no comparison. Anthony Joshua got his opportunities and ran with them, and that's the reason why he fills up stadiums and people pay big money to see him, and that's why he has a whole machine working in his behalf. When you have another fighter that has taken softer touches and he still has a machine and it has worked for him successfully, but there is just no comparison in what a person has done with their career and the chances. There's a song, right, by this old soul band. I'm not too sure if you gentlemen listen to, if you guys listen to any oldies or otherwise, but there is a group by the name of Bob and Gene, and they sing a song called "It's Not What You Know, It's Who You Know." And Anthony Joshua hooked up with Edward Hearn, who made a career out of him. And yes, there is some fabrication, but I assure you, most careers of all fighters that we know of that have reached the highest echelons in the sport have had some fabrication to some extent. But it's how you continue to maintain the fan base. And every time Anthony Joshua says something, everybody's there to either elevate him or bring him down. But I think Deontay Wilder, whenever he says something, he gets a pass, especially if we consider what they've accomplished in sport. Just wanted to bring that up to you. And that's why I have an image of Anthony Joshua laughing at you, because I think you're omitting a lot of valuable information that we should factor in when we make educated opinions.
Let me go find a Wilder picture real quick.
All right, so I understand what you're saying, that he's taking that opportunity that he's been given and he's ran with it and done incredible amount of things. But so has Wilder. And what I mean by that is we look no further, okay? Now you talked about he's done an amazing thing in a quick way to become unified and get 3 belts, right? You went on to list, Alexander Povetkin, right? But you failed to mention Charles Martin. Now, Charles Martin, as you find out now, that victory for Joshua is aging well, because Charles Martin is giving guys at his age like Jared Anderson good quality fights. King Kong Ortiz was a good quality fight as well. But Prince Martin won a belt, I believe the IBF belt, off Glaskov, something like that. Vyacheslav Glaskov for the IBF belt. That fight went 3 rounds, and it didn't even end on 3rd round. It ended in the 3rd round at 1:27. They didn't even see the 4th fight. And if you go look at that round or they'll go look at that fight, Glaskov injured his foot. And you can't even tell if an Achilles was ruptured or a bone tweak. He just threw a punch and he just fell.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, on technicalities like that, if it doesn't supersede or pass the 4th round, it's a no contest.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow Charles Martin gets rewarded the belt. He's a champion at the PBC. And then Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn find the easiest route, the path of least resistance. And they offer Martin $5 million. And then he gets knocked out in 2 rounds. Like 4 times. The fight doesn't go past like 4 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really remember. Okay. So yeah, he's done incredible things. Joshua. Then he ends up, after Charles Martin, he has a couple of soft touches against pretty good record fighters like Drew said, Eric Molina, like Dominic Brazil. And he goes on to fight Wally Klitschko, okay, for 2 of the belts. So he becomes unified. A quick route to become unified in all 3 belts. He fights Klitschko, who, like I mentioned earlier, he came out of retirement after 2 years, right? He fought Tyson Fury in 2015, lost. Boring ass fight. There's no great memory in that fight, right? A bunch of holding, a bunch of jabs and 1-2s, and just.
In fact, the most boring heavyweight fight I've ever seen.
Absolutely, right? And then he goes on to fight Anthony Joshua after 2-year hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how Anthony Joshua gets all of those 3 belts. I don't know how he got those 3 belts when Tyson Fury should have had those belts. Right? Now we know that
good points.
Popping dirty, and then he kind of like retired for 2 years, gained 400 pounds. We know the history. It's really young. And then he goes on to fight, Joseph Parker. He goes on to fight Alexander Povetkin, Carlos Takam, and then he gets surprised by Andy Ruiz. And as we find out, Andy Ruiz is really good. Right?
Yeah. So look, before if you don't mind me, before you allow me to interject, because those are very valid points, right? I just wanted to, allow you to perceive things differently. Okay, for example, Martin was at the same side of the street as Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder didn't fight him. Okay,
yeah,
Anthony Joshua did. Okay, so for whatever reason or another, even though they're in the same stable, the same promotion, somehow Deontay Wilder does not take the easy route, the way that you like to phrase things, and fought one easy fight there with, again, Martin, who he did win that belt on a technicality, which I completely agree with you. The fight, for it to have been official, should have passed the 4th round, but nonetheless, he got the belt. Now, I don't like to condition fights like that, because it's what happens. He had no control. Martin had no control about what was going to happen with the dude's leg, right? It just happens. Mishaps happen. That's just a reality. Life ain't fair. And That's what happens. So I
Right.
don't like to
You
say,
have a
okay,
no contest.
now,
Correct.
no contest. But then, of course, they
And
would
then
have
the new
to. Yeah, they would have to rematch, hold up the belts, whatever. But we're talking about as fans, of course, is to see who a champion would be. But yeah, there's a lot of fuckery. We've talked about how much this sport is full of fuckery. But let's just let's just analyze the other statement that you stated, which is Anthony Joshua got two belts from a semi-retired Klitschko who took a 2-year layoff after putting on one of the most boring fights with Luke Tyson Fury, which he did not take any kind of damage in. No damage at all, right? And he took 2 years, came back, still performed so excellently that he knocked down Joshua on his ass. He made him fly, landed on his ass. One of the most exciting heavyweight fights that I've seen in that decade. And Anthony Joshua picked himself up and went to knock out that boy. In fact, retired him afterwards. It's what you make of the circumstance, right? In Vladimir Klitschko, we had a man that took a 2-year layoff, and guess what? He was very competitive. In fact, he was about to win and get 3 belts off that fight. Now, who's another guy that after a 2-year hiatus made a lot of his career? Luke Tyson Fury. He took a 2-year layoff and came back and destroyed Deontay Wilder. So when we look at layoffs, the first thing that we think of is that inactivity is the killer of boxers' careers, and to some extent, there is. If you're not staying in the gym, if you're not living the fighter's lifestyle, if you're just going over there and enjoying the bounties of life, if that's what you're doing, of course, once you step into the ring with a guy that's very active, you're gonna pay for it. But here's the thing: another person that's done that is Mayweather. Another person that done that is Bernard Hopkins. Another person that's done that is George Foreman. They've all taken career breaks, and in that interregnum, what they do is that they stay fit and they believe in themselves, and when they have an opportunity, they take it and maximize it. That's what I'm talking about. I don't like to belittle and besmirch a man's career and their maneuvering if what they're doing is giving it their best and accomplishing something great. So that's why I say that Deontay Wilder, if you look at it, he suffered the most, having taken that beating at the hands of Fury, because he lost.
Quick question: what year did Bernard Hopkins take that 2-year layoff?
Man, you got me. You know what? Maybe I threw in Bernard Hopkins there because that boy was so old. He was so old. I don't think he actually took a layoff.
No, hold on. I was when you were naming,
maybe it's Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah, when you were actually naming all those people, I had him in mind because you were right. He did take a 2-year layoff against. It was after his Kovalev fight. After that, he took a 2-year layoff and he fought Joe Smith.
Joe Smith, yeah. I remember that because Bernard Hopkins came to be a 40-year-old fighter.
Yeah.
And I think he still beat a Japanese undefeated fella, unless maybe that was right before Kovalev. But he fought. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, right, is that when we think of inactivity, we should also see it as regeneration, restoration, a break to keep your health going. But if you don't use that time wisely, then of course you're just gonna be an easy target and a quick dub for an opponent. That's all I wanted to say about that.
Alrighty, so a couple of things is this. When Tyson Fury retired for those 2 years, it's completely different how Klitschko retired for those 2 years. Same thing with Floyd Mayweather and Bernard Hopkins. When Klitschko and Bernard Hopkins retired or were inactive for 2 years, they were old, man. They were old. Floyd Mayweather, quote unquote, took a break or retired in his peak, then came back and beat Marquez. Tyson Fury was in his peak and beat Klitschko, then came back after 2 years. So these guys are still at their peak and in their moment. So sure, Tyson Fury can balloon up to 400 pounds and smoke a bunch of cocaine, but also because he's in his youth or he's young enough to be able to come back from that. Same thing with Floyd Mayweather. Klitschko at the age of 38 and 40, or Bernard Hopkins at the age of 46 and 48 is not the same as when Floyd Mayweather and Tyson Fury. So it's a big age discrepancy between there. Now, I'm not trying to belittle the hard work or the formula or the script to build Anthony Joshua. No, that's amazing, right? I'm just saying we don't really care about it. I'm not going to sit here and cry all over. Like, it doesn't really matter, right? Again, I don't think we're closer to that Wilder fight, or we're 6 years closer into Wilder versus AJ now than it was then. But again, I ask you guys, does it matter when we get these fights or just that we get the fights? Because if we don't care about it, right, and you guys can all answer it, just a roar. At the end of the day, we might get this fight next. And if we do, we're all going to watch it.
Yeah. What do you say, Mr. Roar? What do you say to that question right there?
Well, obviously it matters. You know, you look at Floyd Mayweather, like you mentioned, he always stays up. You know, he's always in shape regardless of what. He's still working out right now. You know, having those exhibitions, he's still up. So yeah, it matters. He didn't get Pacquiao when he was trying to build it up. Once he sees that, okay, Pacquiao takes an L. It's not his fault. Pacquiao should have been his best fighter always. But that's what I've seen. Fighters take an L, Mayweather capitalizes. The only one that I knew that or gave him Mayweather gave the L to was Canelo. And he let him build him up. You know, they let him build him up. They were already trying to set Canelo on his ass, but no, fuck that. He's not ready. He ain't ready. He knew I'm way ahead of this guy. I'm gonna eat his ass up. And he did. He did just that. And fucking proved all those haters wrong.
Do you think that Anthony Joshua will face Deontay Wilder in January?
I mean, they both already fought, right? They don't have any mandatories. They don't have any. There's no excuses, right? Or who's the next big fish really in the heavyweights? Do they want to go after Tyson Fury? Do they want to go after who's the guy to go after? Usyk? Nobody wants to fight Usyk.
Yeah, Tyson Fury. Yeah, Tyson Fury can't fight right now because he's fighting Francis Ngannou.
But yeah, he's trying to make money. And he doesn't even want to fight. He doesn't even want to fight, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people say.
He doesn't. Like, honestly, think about it. He came from a gypsy background. He just wants to take buck, and he's a good fighter, you know. He's a good fighter, dirty fighter, and everything in between. He'll get the job done, but he doesn't want to fight, man. He'd rather be rich and fuck it. We're rich, mom. You know, shit like that.
Yeah. So he's out of the question. But there is Alexander Usyk. He's already booked to fight
Daniel Dubois.
Not Joe Joyce. Yeah, Daniel Dubois, not Joe Joyce. I was gonna say Joe Joyce. Daniel Dubois, who he has I think in the past 3 fights he got completely destroyed by Joe Joyce. I think he busted one of his orbitals. Then he had a fight with oh goodness, who did he have a fight? What was the fight after that? Joe Joyce that he also looked. He didn't look good. So no. That was Joe Joyce fighting Zhang. But Daniel Dubois fought somebody after Joe Joyce, and he didn't look too good either.
He had his first loss. His first loss, right?
Yeah, Joe Joyce was his first loss, and then he fought another guy, and he barely eked the win. He was taking a lot of punches to the face too, so everybody was concerned that Daniel Dubois was basically shot, and tormented by his first defeat. Nonetheless, yeah, there you go, Larena. So he climbed up ranks because he still got that win. He climbed up the ranks, and now he's fighting Alexander Usyk. So those guys are taken. But Saudi Arabia has promised, has offered close to, it depends on who you listen to, between $250 to $500 million for a 4-way fight that would include Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and Alexander Usyk. Now, they told Anthony Joshua and Wilder that even if let's say that Deontay Wilder lost that fight with Robert Helenius about a year ago, and even if well, I don't think that would have applied on that case because he won it, and these are most recent talks. But if Anthony Joshua lost this weekend's fight versus uh, Robert Helenius, it wouldn't have mattered because he said we just want to see these guys fight. So that's what allowed Anthony Joshua to not just sit out 6 months to 8 months waiting on this opportunity of a lifetime, because he knew that the Saudi Arabians have really they have infinitesimal amounts of money. Their money is never gonna run dry. So that well is always going to be replenished. So Anthony Joshua decided to take a quick fight, the last minute replacement. He's never done well for the most part in his last minute replacements. And really, he did all right. But what we're looking at in Anthony Joshua, in my opinion, Tistaror and the homie Ricky and Drew, is that we still have a very reluctant Joshua who is just doing everything he can to win safely. Yeah, he'll take that extra risk once he can. But his next fight has to be Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder is a little over the hill. By the time that fight happens, might be a year and a half, and Anthony Joshua has already taken a few losses, and he's not looking any better. In fact, I think this would be what you would call the perfect cash out fight, because if he loses, he's probably gonna pocket like 200 million.
So who wins? I mean, you guys
That's
are saying a bunch of nothing right now, man. It's agitating
well,
fucking energy.
you know me, you know my policy. I like to look at things with the little kid eyes, like
Listen, who
I got
wins?
Joshua, man. I got no.
You saying
I
a
got
bunch of
Wilder.
nothing.
I got Wilder, man.
Right.
I got Wilder. I see a lot of promise,
God
you know.
damn, bro. All that to say, like, who wins, man?
well, I'm just saying that they will fight next. I don't care who wins, and I don't have an opinion. I'm not smart enough.
The
Yeah, man.
public wins.
Oh, that fight, Wilder wins the fight. Wouldn't
Wilder
be
does.
surprised if AJ gives him some trouble and almost gets him out of there. But I don't think AJ has the second or third gear to fucking finish off somebody like Deontay, bro. If he does, props to him. But I seen King Kong almost do it, and he could. It was frustrating to watch. I was like, dude, put this dude out already. But he just couldn't, bro. Deontay's just has bad footing. He does have somewhat of a chin, but I mean, if someone like Tyson Fury, who has whose footwork is top notch, it's gonna get him in trouble. But yeah, man, fucking AJ's just. AJ's just gonna get caught, bro. His defense is not all there, not up to par, especially when he gets tired. Yeah, man. I see him winning a couple rounds though. I don't see the first round knockout. I don't see that happening. I see it happening in the mid rounds. Not even. I don't think AJ can even make it to 10, 11, or 12. To be honest.
So Drew got Wilder. Tistaror got Wilder. Who you got, Speed?
Well, I think I may have hinted, right?
No.
When I said, I think I may have hinted when I called it a cash out fight. Think about it. A cash out fight. A cash out fight means he's willing to take one last fight at a loss. It's basically a fucking fight.
Does he
Check
look
this
like
out.
your
It's
avatar?
a cash out for who, though?
What is that?
It's a cash out for who?
For Anthony Joshua.
Hell no. Listen to me, bro. Listen. I think Wilder wins that fight, but it's a cash out for Wilder. Wilder's 40 years old. He's not going to go fight Big Bang Zhang. He's not going to go fight Joe Joyce or rematch Tyson Fury. Hell, even fight Alexander Usyk. Maybe.
This is the fight he's been waiting
Yeah,
for.
This is his mega fight. This is Wilder's mega fight, right?
Yep.
AJ, he probably 32, 33 years old. He can fight all those guys. Big Bang Zhang, Joe Joyce. He can sell out those fucking fights. Wilder at 40, I don't think he's gonna be that ambitious to fight those dudes. Okay, let alone if Anthony Joshua fucks him up. Listen to me. I asked you guys a bunch of easy questions to answer. I asked you guys, who's chinnier? All right, Wilder is chinnier with those fucking Bambi legs. Now he hits fucking harder than Anthony Joshua. He's got the one hitter quitter, that right hand. Wilder also has a pretty good left fucking hook. That same left hook that dropped Tyson Fury. Okay? Wilder can knock the block off 400-pound men. Warises like Tyson Fury. Sleep dudes like King Kong Ortiz when Andy Ruiz couldn't. He had to take 3-4 big old looping right hands behind the back of the head, mind you. Every time he dropped King Kong Ortiz, it was behind the ear or on the back of the head. Fucking dirty blows. That's
Hey,
why.
look, like Brother Azim said, Wilder can knock out some farm animals.
Yeah. Wilder will beat Joshua because Wilder's got more dog in him. This tentative Anthony Joshua, who's got better accomplishments, gold medalist, unified, got a better resume, all that. This dude is scared right now, bro. He's tentative as fuck. I don't care what anybody says. They bring out receipts. Oh, the $50 million offer, term sheet, all that shit was fake. Wilder been scared of the Alabama Slammer. He been scared of that dude.
The bazooka, roll tide.
Unmute yourself, Speed. Unmute yourself. Now, can Joshua knock out Wilder? Absolutely can. Wilder's fucking chinny. He's been fucking defeated and destroyed by Tyson Fury.
Especially with that back footing.
Joshua can definitely beat Wilder. But this tentative Joshua that wants to throw jabs and not be aggressive that we saw against Robert Helenius, that guy is insecure right now. He looks like shit with Derek James. He needs to hire Rob McCracken or Sugar Hill. Joshua can definitely beat Wilder, but not the Joshua that we've seen in the last two fights. Hell
and this is why, and you're right. By nature, this fight would be Wilder's cash fight, because not only is he by age almost out the door, but he really has amassed a lot of wealth, and this would just add to those coffers that he could pass on to his progeny and the rest of his lineage. So just because of age and because of what he's already amassed, yes, Wilder by nature can take this fight and cash out. But here's the thing though, how can he cash out if he wins? You see what I'm saying? See, the one thing that we have to consider when we use such terminology.
Rematch with Joshua, it only makes sense.
No, when we consider well, here's the thing though. Yes, there is some truth to that, because we do know that Matchroom is nicknamed Rematch Room because every fight that involves their fighters, for the most part, has a rematch clause. So yes, I do imagine even if Anthony Joshua was completely destroyed, maybe they would still try to pull a rematch and take that. Now, the reason why I also say that this would be Anthony Joshua's cash out fight is because Anthony Joshua, he's already done a lot in the sport. And yes, he is young, but the only person that he has not fought, should he take this next bout with Deontay Wilder, would be Tyson Fury. And the thing is about Tyson Fury has really been ducking a lot of the work. He ducked Alexander Usyk. By all intents and purposes, even on his own promises to fight the man at 70-30, he presented that offer. His foe accepted it, and he decided to walk away with no questions asked. And now,
the Gypsy, you saw the movie Snatch?
Yes, yeah. But what I'm trying to say though is this: it is an Anthony Joshua cash out fight, especially if he loses. Because see, one thing that you notice when Anthony Joshua is interviewed is that he's content with what he's done. One, and two, he has always perceived the disrespect that a lot of people have provided him as something that he can't really accept. He does not understand why he can have a career like that and still get this level of disrespect. And most recently, he addressed it. He said that he's been saying, okay, well, you know what? Every time you look subpar or you knock out a guy in the seventh instead of the third, everybody's gonna criticize you. You've been at the top, and that's just part of the game. So he's already accepting that people don't like him. And one of the things that motivated Anthony Joshua to fight is because he really wanted people to like him. Now that he don't care, and he's already super wealthy, and he already has other business deals, what does he want to do? Chase Tyson Fury forever?
He wants
No.
that retirement money.
So check this out. Check this out.
Okay, he could retire right now, though.
Joshua is a businessman, right? He's a businessman. When he was 16, 15 in the tough streets of London, man, this dude was slinging bricks. Bro, he had that shit like Tony Yayo fucking had New York Bronx. Okay, this dude was fucking slanging, bro. He's business, bro. He had the fucking fur mink coat, you know, with the rollie on the watch, the big fucking Timberland boots, smacking the little. Nah, I'm not gonna say shit like that. Listen. He's a hustler, bro. So Joshua is not. He's not looking to cash out right now. Man, he can fight Usyk again, Wilder 2-3 times. He can fight Tyson Fury, Ngannou, Andy Ruiz, Big Daddy Zhang, fucking Juggernaut Joe Joyce. Listen, you said something about Tyson Fury ducked Alexander Usyk. 100. That's a fucking fact. But had Tyson Fury fought Alexander Usyk right now, okay, he might have lost to Usyk. And you know what? He's not getting that Francis Ngannou fight right now. If had he lost to Usyk, he damn sure ain't getting Francis Ngannou at all.
So you're saying he'd be fighting AJ instead,
or he would looking to rematch Usyk or something. He would lose all the momentum. But if he takes a cash out fight right now, the Francis Ngannou does fight exist. He's a champion. He's undefeated. Usyk can ruin all those fucking plans. Right? So Fury is looking to play it safe. Fury is fucking afraid of Alexander Usyk. Like you said, Usyk called him out on the bluff. Fuck it, bro. I'll take your 70-30. I'm fucking undisputed. I'm a Hall of Famer. Right? I have 3 other belts. I just beat Joshua twice. I'll take your 30%. And Fury was biting his fucking nails, scratching the acne off his back and be like, fuck, bro.
The acne on his back.
Man, I got to fight Francis Ngannou. He ran to the bag. He hustling the market just like Anthony Joshua did for all those years. Since he's been doing it since he was selling brick in the streets of London, man. Listen. Nah, I'm just fucking around, guys. I don't even know. Listen. Anthony Joshua might look to cash out with Wilder, but he's still going to continue his career. This is one of the reasons why I favor Wilder over Joshua is because, bro, what I saw in Anthony Joshua's face against the Viking, Robert Helenius, right? The dude from the fucking the Norseman, right? The King of the North, Robert Helenius. Anthony Joshua's face, had it gone the full 12 rounds, he might have looked like fucking Errol Spence against Bud Crawford. Wilder is Bud Crawford. His face don't crack like that, bro. The dark-skinned brother's gonna beat the light-skinned brother.
What about the egg-shaped form on the side of his head?
But that was just, bro, that was a fucking big old wart, bro. That was a fucking AB assist. That was assist on his head.
Yeah, that was assist.
Yeah, so yeah, but see, because of what you said is the reason why I also think that Anthony Joshua would with a fight with Wilder, especially if he lost, he would call it a day.
But Joshua don't throw those punches like in the back of the head like Tyson Fury does.
Yeah, but that's why he would lose.
Yeah, I think everything's working out for Fury right now. He's getting that big check with Ngannou, and then he's gonna get an even bigger check with Usyk. I think he beats Usyk, bro. To be honest,
I got a question for all 4 of you. How does Tyson Fury get approved to fight Francis Ngannou and keep that WBC belt? How does that happen, bro?
That baffles me.
Fighters do that shit. Like Floyd Mayweather can fight all these guys and Logan Paul and shit like that.
We were talking a couple days ago about the corruption with the with the sanctions, bro, they can do whatever the hell they want.
Bro, how does that fucking happen though? Like if
I
you're
don't know.
Alexander Usyk, if you're Tyson Fury's mandatory, like I don't know, Wilder or whatever the case may be, how do you not enforce that and strip it? Does anybody know?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think they see how many seats they fill in. I think they see their revenue, and I think they see them as commodities, or not commodities, as yeah, like they see
Yeah,
them as money.
commodity.
Yeah. So that's what they see them as, and they actually support that more than they do the actual skill and the will of the fighter.
sport, yeah.
You know. Yeah. So
Roar, I got a question for you,
being
Roar.
corrupted.
Yeah.
Who are you a bigger fan of, Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder?
Fan, not too much of either, but I prefer Joshua over. Actually, no, I prefer Wilder over Joshua, man. Like I said, I think he could crack harder. It's just gonna be time, one of those come in. Anthony
Yeah.
Joshua will get hurt, man.
You said that.
Wilder, oh, he will get hurt, man. I don't know. I don't see that much of a crazy improvement in the shield, and these big boys, they could crack,
Yeah.
split their melons open. Shit, that guy could do it.
So you said earlier that you saw the highlights of Robert Helenius versus Anthony Joshua, and you also said that it was a last-minute replacement, right? Robert Helenius. So do you think because Robert Helenius was a last-minute replacement that Anthony Joshua fought kind of scared? Because the last time he had a last-minute replacement and, Andy Ruiz, he fucking, got upset. Do you think he played it safe? That's why they went 7 rounds?
No, I think he's been fighting scared ever since he, switched up his game plan since he lost that fight, though. I mean, I know damn well he's been trying to fix his defense. His defense is trash. I don't see him getting way better. Movement. All that. Like I said, I saw the highlights. I didn't see the fight, but it didn't look so great. It looked like he got cracked. That Viking got cracked, and it is what it is. He got caught with a good shot, put him to sleep, and he couldn't recover.
Okay, Speed. So I want you to inform Roar a little bit. When did Robert Helenius last fight?
Oh wow, you're gonna be quite surprised about this, Roar. You're not gonna believe this. He fought. Okay, he fought this weekend, right? He fought on Saturday, but before that, he had fought the week before.
Oh shit!
1 week before. Now,
They allowed that.
yeah. So here's the thing, though, and maybe this is something similar to the reason why Tyson Fury is allowed to fight, because if I'm not mistaken, that fight that Robert Helenius took a week prior to fighting Anthony Joshua as a last-minute replacement took place in an unsanctioned way. I don't think it counted towards his record because I haven't seen the opponent, but the guy had a very good record. Probably a bar fighter or whatever. I think he was in his 30s to like maybe 4 losses.
Wait,
the guy that Robert Helenius fought.
no, he fought a guy that was 6-0.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Robert Helenius. Robert Helenius. See, that's the thing about bad writing. There was only one report, by the way, that I was able to find. Robert Helenius took a fight in a medieval castle in a country called Finland, and it was like a very dark. It looked like
an alley.
You gotta be shitting me.
I swear to God, it was like, oh my goodness,
You gotta be shitting me. At first, I've never heard of this guy. I'm not gonna lie, you gave him a good fucking fight.
Yeah.
I'm looking him up right now. It looks like he fought Wilder before.
Yeah, he fought Wilder before. And he fought
Wilder favor, or what happened with that?
His greatest win, Robert Helenius' greatest win. Mind you, here's the thing: the fact of the matter is that Robert Helenius is a skilled fighter. Just is not the highest skilled. He's not the bravest. He's not the hardest puncher. He's not the best mover, but he has a lot of very good skills overall. But his greatest win was against Adam Kavnaki, who, when he fought Robert Helenius, was undefeated. He was a little Polish wrecker, funny looking kid, big old baby faced guy.
Kenny is fuck though.
Bald guy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He was he had fought like Eric Molina or something like that in a great heavyweight fight. And nonetheless, he was on a roll. And Anthony Joshua called him out for a fight. The PBC did not allow him to cross over. They promised him like $7 million for that fight. Somehow, Adam Kavnaki allowed his handlers to bypass that opportunity to fight. Here's where it gets worse. He passed $7 million away to fight Anthony Joshua when he was a wrecker, and Anthony Joshua was, I think showing some flaws, or maybe even had already lost once. And he took Robert Helenius as his opponent for $100,000,
Lost.
and he lost.
Hmm.
And-
So hold on. So this guy passed on the opportunity to fucking keep his record. He just lost his shit. I don't understand
his
why the
health,
fuck he
too.
took a fight.
He
Yeah,
could-
other than the money.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
his health.
$7 million, and he
his
took a
health.
lot of damage. Yes,
Yeah,
and his health.
He's in
So
bad
I-
shape right now too.
Oh shit! So I just saw Ted Atlas said how quickly everyone forgets that Wilder just recently KO'd this guy in 1 round. Thank
Yeah.
goodness for Royal British fans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Josh,
Yeah,
Whoa.
that dude Kaunaki though, he was just on the downtrend, man. Like he kept losing. Sorry, I'm eating. He kept losing and losing, bro. And I was like, dude, this guy should just retire. I remember saying that. I was like, this guy's just so chinny. Like every punch, it looks like he's gonna go down. And it's like-
I'm definitely rocking. I mean, you know what I mean? That's I wasn't even rocking with Oh shit! No, Josh. I mean, I didn't
Yeah,
see the
no-
fight. I'm hoping that Anthony Joshua won decisively, and he whooped some ass. Without
that
taking
dude,
much punishment
he's on a
himself.
He's on a 4-loss streak right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the thing is this, of course. Let's put a little context behind those 4 losses. There are 2 losses to the same guy, who is Robert Helenius. So the first one is really his first loss, and in that fight, if my recollection is holding up, Adam Kavnaki was bringing the heat to this man, and I think around the 7th round or something like that, Robert Helenius just said, "Okay, I'm just gonna take your punches." And I'm just gonna throw my punches, because Kavnaki was just coming forward and throwing to the body, throwing to the face, overhands. Because Robert Helenius is like 7 feet tall, and out of Kavnaki is like 6 feet something. He's very pudgy, chubby guy. Great guy, by the way, great guy. But he had a mean streak, and he was just bringing it to Robert Helenius, and Helenius was fighting very reluctant. I've never understood why a guy that big would be so intimidated and pushed back by a littler guy. Nonetheless, that's what was happening, and then Robert Helenius started a fight, and then it started to change the dynamic of the fight. He ended up hitting Adam Kavnaki with a couple of good punches. I think he may have stopped him, and that's the reason why he ended up getting the rematch, because he was winning the whole fight until he wasn't. So Adam Kavnaki, being a favorite, who just a few months before had been offered $7 million to fight Anthony Joshua, all of a sudden he wants the rematch because he's not accepting the fact that he lost. And that's when Robert Helenius, who had already beaten this guy, he just molly-whopped that boy. He showed him no respect. Molly
7
whopped
months
him.
later.
Yes, Robert. Yeah, he didn't even have an opportunity to really recover from that. And then Robert Helenius just went to town and just banged the boy. And then he fought some dude named Ali Desmiresen. I don't know nothing about that guy. Probably one of the undercards by then. He really fell off. Adam Kavnaki is one of the stories that we can tell our future listeners about why you should think for yourself, and when you have an opportunity, you take it. You take an opportunity like Anthony Joshua has, because nobody's gonna remember Adam Kavnaki, but Adam Kavnaki could have made money for his family, and he could have believed in himself and fought a champion like Anthony Joshua. And we know what little short, pudgy guys do to Anthony Joshua. They
Oh, yeah.
stop him. They stop him.
Oh, they got endurance,
And,
definitely.
and then after
They
that,
got
he ends up
strength.
losing to Joe Cosumano after that.
Italiano, the
Yeah.
Sicilian.
Yeah,
Fun
so,
fight, fun fight, by the way.
yeah, I think I was watching that one too. And,
Very good fight.
Yeah,
yeah,
fun fight, great fight.
yeah. So after that, I wonder what's his next step. I wonder if he retired or what. Because
He did retire.
he did, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was like suggesting because he was just not reacting well to punches. He was on the downtrend, man. Shit like stuff. People like that need to like just quit boxing, bro. Just for their health, you know.
so Roar said he's not a particular fan of any of them guys, but he does give the win to Wilder. What about you, Drew? Are you a fan of any of these two fighters?
I was a fan of AJ up
Mhm.
until, and then I became throughout time. I became more of a fan of Wilder, but
Mhm.
AJ, I was a fan of his, but up until I seen him start to act like a sore loser,
Mhm.
throwing belts out the ring. You know, after
Mhm.
that Usyk loss, I was like, man, what a meltdown, you know. And then,
Yeah.
just
Hip
seeing the
hip
excuses.
hooray! Hip hip
Yeah,
hooray!
yeah. And then poor Loma Checo trying to calm this dude down. And he was just talking down on him. I'm like, bro, he's trying to like show you love, bro, and you're giving someone who you didn't even fight fucking attitude, man. But yeah, after
He
that,
did that to Loma.
yeah, he was talking bad on Loma, like no, Loma was like, you fought, you had a great fight, my
You
friend.
mean
Like,
Usyk?
yeah, no, Loma was telling him that because he was in support. He was in support of
Oh,
Usyk, and he was
wow.
in the ring. He was in the ring after the fight.
Oh,
While AJ was having a temper tantrum, and he was just trying to calm him down, like, "Oh no, you did a good job," like trying to be a good dude. And I seen that, and I was like, man, AJ's a bitch, man. I mean, he's just a sore loser, And then after his little attitude he has towards like I don't know, like towards like Robert Garcia and stuff like that, and then how even this past weekend how he was reacting in the corner to Derek James, telling him to just throw that right. He was just shrugging, and he's like, I guess, I'm like, bro, what do you mean? Like he's just showing the attitude, man. He's just
yeah,
something's
yeah,
like his ego is really blocking him from his full potential. I feel like,
yeah.
so stuff like that. I feel like he still has potential. He just needs to. It's his mind. It's his mind right now. And like I
Do
said,
you
Okay.
think Anthony Joshua is a racist, bro?
I don't know about that.
Now the
You
reason
know,
I
I'm
bring
gonna.
that up is because I guess one of his there was and I don't know if it was leaked or if it was claimed false or it was fake. He had something centered about like the genetics of the black man and shit like that. Did you guys ever hear about that?
No, I haven't. But of course, UK people talk like that. They like to get scientific.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, you
but
know,
no, I was saying what I was saying about Wilder.
mhm.
Wilder, I started liking him throughout time because, you could tell he's
Self-made
a
guy.
very compassionate dude. Like he cares about his opponents, and he doesn't talk bad about his opponent. Not until like it's time to fight them and stuff like that. But he does talk his trash and stuff like
Hold on,
that.
I'm gonna try something, guys, because
Mhm.
Drew says something. Hold on. Hopefully, I don't hear an echo. If I hear an echo, I'm just gonna be like, fuck you. Hold on.
Yeah.
You
In the
guys-
meantime, allow me to be forthcoming.
The
With my.
Giants beat the Rays 7-0.
Can you guys see this shit?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see it. Let's hear it.
You read my story, you will understand the pageant. I ain't no fucking amateur boxer from 5 years old. I'm an elite prospect from my youth, bro. I was going to jail. I see some high nickel youths in Reading jail. I got bail and I started training my ass off. Because if I got sentenced, I wanted to be able to fight. I bust my cage. So cousin Bengo, where's he at? G14, raise your hand.
My cousin Bengo G14.
Fucking passion we put into this shit, man. Guys, I'm telling you, this guy to beat me tonight, maybe I could have done better. Motherfucker.
He's just like Teal, man.
All-round fighter. Look at me. I'm the new breed of heavyweights. All them heavyweights, Mike Tyson, Sonny Liston, Jack Dempsey. Oh, yo, he don't throw combinations like Rocky Marciano. I'm only fucking 14 stone, that's why. I'm 8 stone, I'm heavy.
Alrighty. So
So no, I don't find that disagreeable. I think I don't find that disagreeable. In fact, that's the highest level of respect that you can
wait, hold
give
on, hold on,
to
hold
the
on.
man that just beat you.
The reason I showed that video in that moment, I wanted you to focus on that last sentence when he said, "For this guy to beat me tonight, motherfucker, maybe I could have done a little better." Right? When he's saying that, I thought that fight against Usyk was the best I ever saw Anthony Joshua. And guess who that was with? Robert fucking Garcia. This is when I disliked Anthony Joshua. Everything before I liked. Up until that fucking moment, I hated this motherfucker.
Yep.
And the reason is because what he did after that fact, he talked a gang of shit to Robert Garcia. I'm gonna show you, and hopefully I'll find it. Screen share it again. He looked at Robert Garcia with some type of hatred and disdain to the point where Robert Garcia exited the ring. All right. I disliked Anthony Joshua at that particular moment.
Yeah. So allow me to just give you another way of looking at it, right? When before Terrence Crawford fought Errol Spence, we had a group of boxing quote unquote fans that were so in disfavor of Terrence Crawford, and they were besmirching the man's career, belittling him, praising everything that Errol Spence had done, right? And then as soon as they got in the ring and Terrence Crawford destroyed Errol Spence, you know what the majority of those fans did? All of a sudden, they started to praise Terrence Crawford. Started saying a lot of flowery, beautiful things about the man who they had spoken so badly about for years by the time that those two men fought. Now, that right there, right, is the same thing that Anthony Joshua was doing with Alexander Usyk. They were obviously in incredulity, in the state of incredulity, having to admit that there was somebody better than who they were at the moment. Because see, these fans were living vicariously through Errol Spence, so that when Errol Spence lost, they lost, right? And I know this for a fact because I'm an Errol Spence fan. I wanted Errol Spence to win because I thought the victory would allow one of the greatest undisputed runs and stories to be told in the boxing history. But here's one thing between the difference between myself and the fans of Terrence Crawford, of which I include myself in. I never said nothing bad about Terrence Crawford, but a lot of these people did. Now, they are forced to give credit against their best wishes to the man that destroyed their man. And that's what Anthony Joshua did. He was forced against his own wishes and in that level of incredulity and that level of amazement and say, this man has proven me wrong. And how do I know he's greater than me? Because I put in the blood, sweat, and tears that you will never see. And it takes a lot of courage for you to admit that somebody is better than you. That I tell you the honest truth, because I got in my fucking ass beat one time. And I had to admit, after having a long streak of street fights, and all of my scholastic years, from elementary to middle school to high school, I got in a lot of fights, and somehow I always won until I didn't. And when I didn't, I was bested by a way better man, and I had to tell the guy, and like how we used to do before. We used to
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
walk up
whoa.
to the guy and shake their
Bro, you
hands and
say
say,
all that to
"You
say
got
what?
me." I'm telling you, I don't apply too much factor, too much credit or value. I don't look at that as a significant reason for why I shouldn't like Anthony Joshua, because I actually see that as the highest form of flattery. To tell shut up and said, "Okay, you won the better man," and walked out. And he said, "Guys, this guy's better than me."
Yeah, I don't know. When you throw belts outside the ring, when you grab somebody else's belts, especially the ones that you just lost,
Usyk should have
and
whooped some ass, huh? That's what you're trying to say. He should
yeah,
have
I was
slapped the
like,
shit out of him.
Usyk should have just fucking whooped his ass again. You know,
Yeah, so that yeah, I'm just saying about the words. Yeah, I'm not
mhm.
saying, I'm not trying to say that there was no mental breakdown. There definitely was. I'm just telling you, even though there was that mental breakdown, he still said the right things. You could do both things. You could have a mental breakdown and say flattery things about your opponent. Now, with that being said, I just wanted to say that I want to be completely honest here. I have been very critical of Deontay Wilder, but at the same time, I have been a fan because he's always provided the excitement. I love knockouts, and he's
Mhm.
always done that. And as far as Anthony Joshua, I've always been a fan of his because of who he's fought in, what he's overcome, and how he's able to pick himself up. And
No,
and because of
speak,
his outside the ring personality, which is quite agreeable. He's a very respectable, well-spoken a gentleman who handles himself like a gentleman. So I like that because I like to think I'm like that.
but you see, me and Ricardo have different reasons to like one man. Like when you have multiple reasons, like there's like I have what reason not to like AJ. Ricardo or Ricky has his own reason as well. Like this guy is just a villain now, and I think he's trying to fit that villain role a little too much. It's like, right, man, like there's still people like you who still, see the good in him and all that, and he's like just trying. It's as if he's trying his hardest to make us not like him or something because he's just off to me, man. He's like I liked his story at first. I liked the gold medalist story and all this, and he was actually like, he seemed that, really respectful and Deontay, he's doing exactly what we're asking for. He's giving respect to his opponents. He's knocking them out. And and I gained a lot more respect for him, especially after the whole King Kong situation. You know how he tested positive or something like that, and he still ended up giving him the fight. Is that correct, or am I wrong? Like he popped hot, and then he ended up they were about to cancel the fight, and Wilder still wanted to like fight. He still wanted to make that fight happen. Did you guys hear about that?
So check this out. So check this out.
No, I
Why
didn't.
you know Robert Garcia and Anthony Joshua is because after that fight, I don't know how camp went. I haven't been paying attention too much about Robert Garcia's interviews, but if you look after they broke apart, right, when he ended up going with Derrick James, and it was in fact Robert Garcia that said something into a Spanish interview or like I don't know YouTube channel. It's called izquierdazo. If I'm not mistaken, that means like the left hand or some shit. And basically, what he said was, now the translation in English and Spanish is a little different, but he goes, Joshua was mentally defeated since about 10 or 9, round 10 or 11. Round 10 was a big one for Usyk that changed the whole fight, and mentally we were defeated. Okay, I guess that's the translation. So what happened, if you guys remember that rematch fight, Joshua had an amazing ninth round, and he threw basically the kitchen sink. It looked like he had Usyk. No, he definitely had Usyk stunned, and it looked like Joshua might get the knockout. And somehow, the 10th round comes fucking hard, bro.
Yeah,
And he brings it to Joshua. And I
yeah.
think that little moment, let's say if it was like a 30-minute, 15-minute interview, the translation, that became the sole focus. And everyone kept focusing, oh, Robert Garcia says Anthony Joshua was mentally weak. and that's why Usyk's mentally was stronger than him. Maybe so, maybe whatever's. Maybe an
Yeah.
honest assessment, or maybe Robert Garcia shouldn't have said nothing. But as what we know about Robert Garcia throughout these whole years, for the majority of his whole career, right, he's always been humble and grounded. He don't really badmouth nobody. Now, he's been associated, Robert Garcia, through some beefs. And those beefs were Brandon Rios and Victor Ortiz. And those beefs were also when Alex Ariza went with Robert Garcia. And there was a time where Brandon Rios and Margarito, Brandon Rios all over again, was making fun of Freddie Roach and Parkinson's disease. I don't know if you guys ever watched that video.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
Goodness.
fucking kicked Freddie Roach. I guess it was,
Crazy.
he's like, get the fuck out of here. And then all this shit. And then Robert Garcia tries to play victim. I bring this because Robert Garcia does have this sense of playing victim where he might say something and then he goes like, well, I didn't say nothing bad. Okay. So I don't know how camp went between Robert Garcia and Anthony Joshua. What I know a little bit in the past is there was an interview with Little Giant Boxing. Okay. And his name is Constantino. He used to be like the second one right underneath Marcos Villegas for Fight Hub.
Mhm.
And in this interview, Robert Garcia was talking about why Anthony Joshua picked him. Okay. Now, Angel Fernandez was, I guess, maybe the strength and conditioning coach of Anthony Joshua or an assistant coach. I'm not exactly too sure what he is, but he became basically the main trainer in the rematch for Joshua versus Usyk. Angel Fernandez wanted help and wanted guidance and wisdom off Robert Garcia because Robert Garcia was a pro fighter, but he wanted some bucks that Robert Garcia's father, right, had in the past of Mexican trainers of decades ago. So they were trying to pick the brain of Robert Garcia. They also knew in that interview, Robert talks about, look, guys, Joshua is not a dumb guy. All right. He's very smart. And he wants to hire me because Robert Garcia used to have a training facility in Oxnard, California. He then went on to move to Riverside. But during his time in Oxnard, Vasyl Lomachenko and Alexander Usyk and Igis Klimas used to train and hold camp there. Robert Garcia and one of his friends, Marcos Contreras, they used to watch Usyk and Loma train. So they have a bond with Usyk. They have a bond with Lomachenko and Igis Klimas. So they knew if I can pick the brain more of Robert Garcia, he knows how Usyk and them train. Again, Anthony Joshua is not a dumb man, right? So
I
instead
didn't know that.
and yeah, so I'm just giving you guys a little background. So I don't know if Robert Garcia was offended that during the holidays he had to go train and fly over to the UK and train Anthony Joshua and leave his fighters like Virgil, Bam Bam Rodriguez, Hector, Tanahara, Mikey Garcia, all these fighters in his camp, Lindolfo Delgado, etc. I don't know if he was upset or what was going on, or maybe he was like, I want to be the head trainer and give you the instructions rather than Angel Fernandez, who isn't as experienced in these big moments. I'm not too sure what happened, right? But if you look at it right now, there is no love is lost between Joshua and Robert Garcia. And it saddens me because I think both of them would have been great together.
They would have benefited off each other.
For sure. From what I know, Robert Garcia was able to implement certain styles, maybe Mexican boxing, to Anthony Joshua to be very aggressive. Since then, I don't know exactly what's happened, all right? But Joshua hasn't been the same since that fight. And Derrick James, if we look at every single one of his fighters, Errol is very aggressive. Jermell Charlo is very aggressive. Frank Martin is very aggressive. And I'm not too sure what's going on with Anthony Joshua. He's being very, like, not lazy.
Timid or something.
He's fucking hard, but he's very, I don't know, bro. He's like a shell of himself. I don't
Yeah.
know. You guys know of anything that I was talking about?
No, I know Robert Garcia still has this heavyweight name, Antonio Mireles. That dude, I heard he was giving AJ problems, bro. I heard he was giving him problems in sparring and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if he dropped him or what. But yeah, no, that probably shook him up a little bit. But I did hear some shit about that. And then What was your other question? I forgot your other question. I was so focused on that.
Yeah, I have heard those, and it's very reasonable what you've brought up. I myself agree with you, the homie Ricky, that when Robert Garcia was working with Anthony Joshua, in fact, I think that was one of the best Anthony Joshua's I'd seen in years. Why? Because he fought one of the greatest southpaws. Hey, I always talk about the greatest southpaws, don't I? One of the greatest southpaws in boxing's history. Now, this one is true. This is not Lomachenko, me talking all flowery about my favorite fighter. But yes, I think we can all agree Alexander Usyk is one of the most skilled and especially most accomplished southpaws in boxing history. When he tag teamed uh, Alexander Usyk, he did way better than the first fight. Now, I actually think that Anthony Joshua looked good in the first fight, except he was out of his league.
Yeah.
He did not look that bad, um, but he did get outclassed. And the second fight was much closer. I think he was still losing it. It was a convincing defeat, but nonetheless, he did much better. He did what was working in the first fight. He implemented a couple of different things in the second one, but mostly it was the level of activity and. That worked for him, throwing more of the twos, moving to the side so that he can avoid that jab, and especially Usyk's left hand. So he was doing very good work under Robert Garcia. The thing is this though, how much credit can we give Robert Garcia in light of what the homie Ricky just stated, which is he was basically paid what it sounds like in one part to impart some of the knowledge from Robert Garcia's father's books, and secondly, he was the second in the command because nobody really has been able to provide me definitive answers on who played the majority coaching role. Was it Angel Fernandez, the Spaniard, one of Anthony Joshua's best friends, or was it actually Robert Garcia? Some say it had to logically be Robert Garcia because he's the actual boxing trainer. But the thing is this, nobody has ever, Robert Garcia has never really worked with heavyweights. So that's one thing. How much of a role can he have played if he's never had that experience? So what do we know exactly about what Robert Garcia's role was?
So let me
Maybe it was Angel Fernandez.
whoa. Let me answer that question for you. So, again, going back to what you said in the beginning, Robert Garcia had never trained a heavyweight, and he was extremely excited, right? When he got that Anthony Joshua call, he was like, "Man, this is where I actually show my talents. I always rejuvenate fighters coming off either a loss." He did it with Brian Valora, and he starts going down memory lane, right? He was very excited to land Joshua because it might have opened opportunities for him to land much more heavyweights. But somewhere along the way, Robert Garcia started to become a yes man. He kept saying that Joshua, in post-fight interviews, that Joshua wouldn't listen to the instructions. And if you go look at that rematch, Angel Fernandez or Freddie Fernandez, I'm not too sure exactly what his name is, but he's the one giving Joshua the main instructions. He's the one going inside the ring and making eye contact. Robert Garcia is outside the ropes, right? He basically wasn't listening to Robert Garcia's instructions. But if you also listen to that, Robert Garcia was also telling me, "Look, Joshua, you're winning the fight. You're winning the fight." So I feel like it's a very hard. I think one of the reasons why Robert Garcia said what he said is because I felt somewhere along training camp, Joshua wasn't listening to him. He turned him into a yes man, where it was just like, "Look, bro, I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do. You've never been at this level." And I think he probably undermined Robert Garcia because if you look at that, Robert Garcia has never talked bad about any fighter for an X amount of time. If you go type in Robert Garcia right now in the search engine in YouTube, he'll be like, "He didn't look good against and he'll say he don't look good in the Robert Helenius fight." He'll go on to say, "I wanted to leave Anthony Joshua." He has all these salty remarks like an ex-girlfriend would have to a guy who like moved on and found something better. So I just off the get go, I'm gonna say Angel Fernandez had much more instructions because that's who AJ knows. And
Angel Fernandez, who does he train?
I don't even know if he's with Joshua anymore. I have no idea.
I never heard of that name before.
Yeah, no, he's Anthony Joshua's one of Anthony Joshua's best friends. He's a Spaniard. He's been with him forever.
Yeah.
He says like you said, is conditioning, strength and conditioning coach. And so I guess again, did Anthony Joshua look good with Robert Garcia, or did Anthony Joshua look good with Angel Fernandez? See,
I don't know. Like what?
Well, what do you think, Roar?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you one thing. Aside from this, I was looking at your podcast and I'm like, okay, you're bringing up all these other like fights, but the big fight's coming up in 2 weeks, and there's also I don't know. I had some other questions for the Bud Crawford. I know Bud Crawford is coming up all the time. Every once in a while, Crawford and Spence. Questions about that. But obviously, Anthony Joshua. Going back to your question, but I know you haven't answered this one yet. But just some things to think about, so you could let me know what's up with the show. Let me know how it goes, so I could understand it a little bit more, man. But from your questions, I definitely think Anthony Joshua. I don't know if they had good chemistry. If he didn't know what it was like over here in Oxnard, here in California, here doing this thing here with Robert Garcia. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking or what. If he just wants people all around him that he wasn't comfortable. Maybe it's because it was a bunch of Mexicans and random ass Russians, and he probably felt better in Texas. I don't know, with more black people, people of his color. And people that might have his back, or he thinks that might have his back more. I have no idea, man. But
actually, that's a legit point.
it could be one of those legit points, and he just probably didn't feel at home with Robert Garcia. Maybe he didn't like how Robert Garcia talked to him, or he liked to be told what to do right away, or I don't know, in between. Maybe Robert Garcia wasn't as strict, or he was too strict, or too straightforward. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe at the time he had too many fucking fighters in his stable, and couldn't focus on one of them or two. Who knows? That's just the way that I kind of see it with this guy. He seems to be a little bit too special, compared to everybody. So he probably didn't like that. He wasn't putting too much effort in training camp, like you mentioned. Angel Garcia, or I'm sorry, was it Angel Fernandez? Was the guy directing him, and not Robert Garcia? That shows you that he probably spent more time with that guy instead of Robert Garcia. But Robert Garcia is getting all the shine. So who knows, man?
Yeah. So I think maybe Tisseror is he's right about a lot of things, right? Angel Garcia over there in the Southern California. Works and trains with a lot of Mexican Americans, Chicanos, Latinos. I'm sure he has other races of fighters there, but he is known to work with a lot of Mexicans. Derek James is known to work with a lot of black champions. So I do see that because as far as he Southern California can become an unbearable desert, just like Texas can. They both bring that incredible heat. So there really wouldn't have been a difference. It's just where do you see yourself in and fit better with a lot of people that look like you, or a lot of people that don't look like you. So maybe that is a big reason for why Anthony Joshua thinks he's a better fit at Derek James. But we know that with Robert Garcia in his corner, whether he played a negligible role or a more significant one, he looked much more aggressive against one of the most highly skilled fighters in boxing right now, and yet he looked very tentative against one of the softest punching fighters, and Jermaine Franklin, and then again with Robert Helenius. Very very tentative. And that's
I,
two fights in a row.
I did see
Now
that his nose got busted, so he was
nose
definitely
got busted.
he
Yeah,
was
but you know
jabbing the
what?
shit out of
You
him,
know
you
what,
know.
Roar? Yeah, but the thing is this, Roar. It's Robert Helenius has reach. In fact,
Yeah.
in fact, Franklin bloodied Anthony Joshua's nose, if I'm not mistaken. So
Okay.
so he's definitely getting tagged more. Now, the one thing that I think contributes to the less aggressive nature of Anthony Joshua is not really the fact that he lost. Uh, Most recently, the thing that's contributed to his less aggressive nature is the fact that he learned to be a much more technical uh, boxer
Boxer.
under Robert Garcia when he fought Usyk twice, because he had to fight more technical. He couldn't just be a bully and start stomping this guy, because he wasn't going to be able to catch him. He wasn't going to be able to evade all those punches. He wasn't going to be able to angle and move with him, even though he did excellently. Considering he's way bigger and cumbersome than his opponent, but he became a more technical fighter as a necessity with Usyk, and I think that more technical fighter has become part of his fighting style now.
Yeah, I just feel like you Ricky named Warp Speed. You named Derek James having all like black fighters, or my bad, that was Roar. He mentioned you mentioned that Derek James has all these black fighters and forgot about Ryan Garcia.
Oh, there
People
you
like
go.
Ryan Garcia, I don't I don't think they benefit from having coach like Derek James, not because he's not Mexican, but I just feel like he doesn't expose what Ryan's good at. I just feel like people. I think Ricky told me this. His best fit was actually Robert Garcia. With all that footing, but that's because of his style. He doesn't. He needs that footwork, and I think the stuff like that will benefit him. So I think it already kind of depends what style you fight with, and certain coaches kind of bring out the best in you as far as what they teach, what tools they sharpen. So
It's
people like
us.
people like Derek James. I mean,
AJ's second defeat to
what was that? Sorry, I heard an echo on your end.
Yeah, that was me. My bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, people like AJ. I feel like I thought would benefit from Derek James. It still looks like he's having some frustration, so I think it's a mental thing. It's not the switch of coaches that's going to help him. Because Ryan Garcia, he still needs to prove to us, whether or not Derek James was the right move or not. So that's still, to be told right there. So we'll see about that. But yeah, it just depends which coach, benefits your style. People like Salas, would actually do good with people like I don't know. I think Arrow would have done great with that with that head movement. He really needed that against
Well, a lot of
Crawford.
people have said that Errol Spence is a black Mexican.
Hmm. Really?
In the sense of how he fights. A lot of
Oh,
people have
okay.
said that. Like
I agree with it, bro. He's a push forward, search and destroy, take one or give one.
But he's
That's
there to
that's
get
how he
hit.
is.
He's there to get hit, and I just feel like, you know, somebody like Salas, not like Salas, but somebody who teaches head
well,
movement
the
like
the
him.
best the best trainer that teaches head movement, it's either Ben Davidson or Eddie Reynoso, right?
Yep.
Ismael
Reynoso.
Salas, if you look at the fighters that he trains, he has Joe Joyce, he trained Jorge Linares, he's trained Luis Cuba Arias, he trains Jordanis Ugas. They don't really have head movement. Like when you look at their fights, Linares is the one that actually has a little more head movement. Joe Joyce is kind of like robotic. He kind of rolls with the shoulders. Ugas
Mm.
kind of stays there, catches and he shoots off the back, not even off the back foot. He just stays planted. You watch the Pacquiao fight and you watch the Spence fight. He holds his ground and then he punches in between the punches, right?
Mm. Robeson.
Robeisy Ramirez. Well, lately he's been just kind of like having a high guard and taking steps
Yeah.
back, and then he counters. He don't
Yeah, his
really
style's
have
been
head
switching up.
movement. In fact, if you watch Robeisy Ramirez in the Olympics, he used to have extraordinary head movement.
Mm-hmm.
He used to move side to side. If you watch up, and I probably can find when he fought Chris Stevenson, there was a lot of head movement, boom, 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 almost like Lomachenko, little side to side, and then he takes an angle and then he hits and he was like a volume puncher. So Ismael Salas doesn't really teach a lot of head movement. He teaches great punch selection and combinations. Like you gotta let your fucking hands go. But yeah, I think, yeah, man, I'm not too sure. I would agree that Errol does fight like a black Mexican, if that makes any sense. Like Roar said, he takes one to dish it out as well.
Well, it is
Ultimately, the
Texas
downfall
too.
against Crawford. But without deviating too much, do you think what you guys have seen, right, in terms of a sample size, not 24 rounds, but those two fights that Derek James has had Joshua, have you seen any major improvements that he didn't have with either Robert Garcia, Angel Fernandez, or his trainer for his whole career, Rob McCracken? Have you guys seen any improvements with Derek James?
With Derek James, I mean, you can't really tell with Derek James. He's just so busy, bro. He's got so many big challenges. It's to be found out, man. He has a busy schedule. He has Carlo to take care of, and then after that, who's next? Ryan Garcia. I think he has a fight after that. So I mean, we'll see, man. How each of their styles kind of adapt to Derek James, to his instruction and all that. But we don't know yet. I don't know yet. You know,
Right. So that's kind of what I was trying to get at. Look, Derek has an amazing stable. And I
he
don't
was
know
doing
if he
great
has
before
any
that.
assistant trainers or not, right? But how can you draw up a masterful game plan for Joshua, Errol Spence, Jermell Charlo, Frank Martin, and Ryan Garcia? And the answer is you can't. If you look at most trainers, they usually make one big ass star, and then they rarely make another one. Like for instance, look at Freddie Roach. He has at one point had an amazing stable. He had Jose Ramirez, he had Chon Zepeda, he had Manny Pacquiao, Victor Posto, Edwin Rodriguez stable. And all of a sudden, I think even Alex Cholo Salcedo, fucking fighters. But he was never able to make a Manny Pacquiao ever again. Look at Eddie Reynoso. He had an amazing stable. He had Oscar Valdez, Ryan Garcia, Frank Sanchez, Andy Ruiz. But it was only Canelo. Look at Manny Robles. He's a very versatile trainer, a great one too. At one point, he had Oscar Valdez. He had Jesse Magdaleno, Andy Ruiz, Michael Conlon, right? And essentially, they were all great, like pretty good. Robert Garcia, only Mikey Garcia and Marcos Maidana. You can probably add Nonito Donaire and Brian Viloria and maximize the output that he could with Brandon Rios. And when you look at all
afterwards.
Say again.
Kelly Pavlik came back afterwards.
When Kelly Pavlik trained under who? Freddie?
No, Robert Garcia.
What? I didn't even know that.
That was at the last fight. Yeah, Kelly Pavlik came back with him.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Like the drugs and shit. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Larry Liston. All right, check it out. He pops up. Larry Liston. Good evening, morning to you, Larry Liston. Derek James is probably overrated as a trainer. Frank Martin arguably lost against Artem. Spence looked terrible. AJ looked bad twice, both against Helenius and Jermaine Franklin. I'm not saying, by the way, he isn't a good trainer, but he is no way on the same level as Ismael Salas or Bob Santos. What do you guys got to say about that? Now, who does Bob Santos train?
Mario Barrios, Hector Luis Garcia.
Hector Luis Garcia.
How
does even Bob Santos look like? Oh shit.
Bob Santos. He's from San Jose.
He's the Andre Ward's trainer. What's the name of Virgil Hunter?
Virgil Hunter.
Virgil Hunter, that guy's a savage. He's a smart fucking man, bro.
Yeah, he's someone.
I heard him analyze why fucking why Spence lost to Crawford, I was like, holy shit, this guy knows his shit.
Yeah.
Like inwards,
Yeah,
outwards.
he's like
He
Puerto
even has-
Rican. He's like Puerto Rican or
Oh,
something
shit.
like that, or Dominican. I forget which one.
After I heard this guy talk about why his analytics of
He trains a bunch
Ow.
of Dominican fighters. Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, he does.
I want to say I'm not. I might want to say Elvis Rodriguez too, but I'm not sure.
Bob Santos might be the best trainer you've never heard of. So
who
yes,
the, I was about to say who the
he
fuck is
trains
that? Man?
Hector Luis Garcia. Let me see.
Mario Barrios.
No.
He might train.
You know what?
You're from
Oh, no,
San
no,
Jose,
he's not.
California. Yup.
You know what? He was with the Ghost. He was with the Ghost.
Was he?
I think he was. I mean, Shoot
think his dad
Palace
trained him.
all over. I just looked at okay, this motherfucker he's probably with the Ghost. I think I've seen him actually. Let me see, hold on,
I know one of my favorite trainers is Ronnie Shields. He had Jermel, Charlos. He has David Morrell, and he had Arizona Lara at one point. I love Ronnie Shields. He's fucking amazing.
What about brother Nassim? Nassim.
He passed away.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he passed
Nassim
away.
Richardson's
But
my
that
guy.
motherfucker had Shane Mosley, B
I'm
Hop,
just trying to see who he's trained.
Kronk Jim, tienes el pinche Manuel Stewart.
Bob
I mean, they already passed away too. But I guess you talk about live ones, right?
Yeah.
Oh fuck, man.
Oh, check this out. Santos, as you guys know, he is from San Jose, California, like Drew
Yeah,
said.
the Ghost.
He also
The
learned
GOAT.
at the feet of serious masters. Goosen for a number of years, the legendary Emmanuel Stewart, while he was
There you go.
cornering for Jose Celaya from Salinas,
There
California.
you go. There
I
you
didn't know
go.
that.
That's the guy you don't know. That's the thing. Yeah.
Let's see,
Fuck,
I'm trying
bro.
to fucking
Nobody
find,
gives him his props, bro.
Damn. I gotta
Nobody
do more
gi-
research about Mr. Bob Santos. Fucking lives in our hometown.
He's been there in the fucking fight corners, except that you're like, that's just like Manny Pacquiao's fucking trainer, Boo Boy, and fucking.
Yup, he did work with Robert Guerrero, like you said, Roar.
Mm.
Man,
Shoe
he's
Palace
got a
all over,
fucking
bro.
name.
You see it's fucking Shoe Palace sponsorship, you know?
He trained Alberto Puello. He also trained Carlos Adames. Fuck, Carlos
Wow.
Adames is a bad motherfucker.
Yeah. That was
Yeah,
a
that
dog,
dude's
bro.
fucking mean and athletic. That fucker's good. Jamal better not fight
Okay.
that dude. You'll fucking get slept.
See, Bob Santos started out by training Robert Guerrero. He was
shit.
assistant coach.
The
when he fought
Ghost.
Floyd.
Crazy.
Yeah, I remember seeing. I could have sworn I seen Bob Santos.
framed up and shit.
Yeah, yeah, bro. He has his fighters like run out in the outskirts up in like the Fremont Hills sometimes.
He was training Robert Guerrero. He was assistant coach when he fought Floyd. Nice. Guy's wearing all red. Must be a buster. I'm just joking. Just fucking around, man. Nice. I didn't. Good shit. Man. I'm just fucking around, guys. Just joke, man.
But yeah, that's good, man.
Mario Barrios, yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, Mario Barrios
I don't know
stays
about
out there.
that.
I seen it on his All Access when he fought Tank. He was out there in San Jose.
No shit.
Yeah.
Guys, we've been talking for 2 hours and 14 minutes. Where did the time go, man?
I don't know,
Holy
man.
shit.
You
Yup.
need some water, bro. You're probably
Hey,
having that
I'm
white
so
shit in
glad
the
we
corner
didn't
of your mouth.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, this was a really interesting live. There was a little moments where it kind of dropped off, but it was pretty good. Yeah, no, I'm curious to see. I hope. I know Anthony Joshua has said a couple of things in terms of the fallout. There was when you go to these YouTube videos and you read the comments, I feel like the fans are able to dissect a little much more. There were some things that they were saying, like maybe Robert Garcia was a little undermining, only calling Anthony Joshua strong, in size, but not like being dismissive of his skills or his technique and stuff. So there was a disconnect and a red flag that it triggered on Anthony Joshua. It was all much more than just muscles and pecs. You feel me? Maybe there's a language barrier or connotation of certain words and phrases, that the black genetics of Anthony Joshua was flagged. You know what I mean? I don't fucking know, dude. It was a shame that they couldn't work much more than that. I do know that in one video, Robert Garcia did say that he is glad that AJ flew out to America and is training in the American environment with Derek James, rather than having the trainer fly out and leaving camp, because it's always good to surround yourself amongst other champions, right? No matter if they're smaller than you, right? There's always things that you can learn to see the grind. If you surround yourself and wake up with motivated people, you're only going to be motivated to do yourself and compete, right? And kind of smell and carry yourself, rather than always having surrounded by yes men, right? But yeah, there's a whole lot to dissect. I got to do a little more research on these videos, especially on
I'm just
the
glad.
afterwards, because Robert is pretty salty, and but who knows?
But he says it in his own little way where he sounds like nice while he's saying it, because he sounds
I
like
don't know, because Robert, look, man, he associates himself with certain people, man. I remember when Mikey Garcia, I don't even say that story, but he in the locker room, Mikey Garcia beat Adrian Broner, and there was like probably some gangsters around Mikey Garcia, and they were like, see, we were talking about some other fucking guys making bets, and I fucking took those, cash. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I heard something like that.
Yeah, so like again, Robert Garcia might have said something that fucking upsetted Joshua, and since then they were like, nah, dude, like that's why I don't listen to you or whatever. I don't know. Who knows? I wish they come out and.
I think a lot of the shit,
man.
I think a lot of the shit he says gets misconstrued because he says it, like in a tone where, yeah, like I don't know, he just tries to be truthful while it comes out the way it does, and it is what it is. I don't see him as that as a hater or anything like that. I think he's a solid dude. As far from what I heard, I heard he brings in his fighters and treats them like family, dude, and he doesn't really like, give them a hard time or anything like that. So I heard a lot of good things about him as well.
Yeah, again, everyone has like their flaws or whatever, but yeah, I know that again, going back to Robert Garcia and when he hooked up with Brandon Rios, they were kicking certain people. Well, Alex Ariza kicked Freddie Roach so there's like, again, bro, there is always like, these are fighters in these hostile environments, let alone when emotions are flared up, whether it's coming off a loss or disbelief that this guy can lose. Everyone likes to make excuses, but I thought Robert Garcia and Anthony Joshua, had they stayed together, they would have made a really good team. Again, whether it's surrounded by yes men or Robert Garcia feeling undermined, or him playing out ball, or being close friends with Alexander Usyk and Igis Klimas when they were training at Oxnard gym. Who knows, bro? Who knows? Maybe Robert didn't believe in Joshua could beat him. I don't know, bro. If you go to these videos and these comments, there's a whole lot of like speculation that all these people say. Yeah, man, it's a really interesting world to dive in, and you get into a rabbit hole. But it's
I'm just glad we didn't switch subjects like we usually do. We managed to stay in the whole heavyweight division.
That was where my question was coming in. I was like, I don't want to bring that in, but
Oh no, because typically we're always. Typically we're switching typically we're switching subjects all the time, but this time we did very well with just talking about heavyweight division.
Yeah. One thing, let me read that. Let me read that one right there, the homie Ricky. So Mr. Larry Liston states, AJ should never have left Robert. The way he looked against Usyk in the second fight is the best he looked for years. And he continues on with a freshly delivered one. Robert wanted him to take off more muscle, which you could see helped him against Usyk. But Joshua has now put on all that weight again for the bodybuilder look. He's too stiff for Wilder. I did bring the same thing up, Mr. Liston. I thought I did mention how I personally thought that that Anthony Joshua looked his greatest, his best in years when he fought Alexander Usyk in the rematch fight. In fact, I actually thought he did excellently in the first fight. Just leveled up and became more aggressive and threw more twos in the second fight. So he took from the first fight, learned from it, and he was able to move well with Alexander Usyk. Yes, he did. He did. But I think his first outing against Alexander Usyk, even though Alexander was much more dominant in that one, except for round 10 on the second one, I think it was maybe Anthony Joshua's best performance in years. Now, what I did mention though, Mr. Liston, and I'm not too sure if you agree with this or not, but what I have noticed, though, and I think everybody here has seen it also, is that Anthony Joshua has become much more tentative and reluctant to engage in aggression. And in the heavyweights, that could easily backfire because I'm trying to recollect what kind of masterful fighters there have been at heavyweight that have fared well just off of their skills and not so much for the power and aggression. Because when we look at heavyweights, we really think it's power, one punch knockout. And if you don't throw enough punches, you're not going to get that one punch knockout. So if you try to box, it might not fare well with you, which just comes to show how great Alexander Usyk is. Because although he does have respectable power, mostly he boxes. He doesn't come over there to blow you away with one punch as much as overwhelm you with his class and finesse. But because he fought Usyk twice, and Anthony Joshua had to become more technical to fight a very technical boxistic master like Alexander Usyk. I think the way he fought him in those two fights lingers on, and as a result, he's become more of a boxer instead of an aggressor, a person that's trying to use reach and set up punches and try to move instead of just saying, okay, look, I'm a big, huge guy that obviously has respectable power. I've slept people before. Let me just take out my opponent more aggressively. And I think maybe some of that training that he had with Usyk is what's making him that fighter that is trying to be technical when he probably should not be against an opponent like, let's say, Hellenius and probably even Wilder, because Wilder is not a great boxer. So he should be able to go over there and just like throw everything in the kitchen sink and take him out before Wilder starts throwing his two. But who knows?
Did you guys read the last comment from Larry Liston?
You want me to read it?
Yeah,
I'll
go
read it.
for it.
Yeah. So, did you guys read where he said, "Yup, I completely agree"? You guys read that?
No.
Okay, I'll read that. Yup, I completely agree. He's become trigger shy. He doesn't like getting hit, I think. And although people don't see Usyk as a power puncher, he does hit both precise and hard. Plus, also took a lot of damage against both Ruiz and Klitschko. I can safely say that Fury would box circles around AJ, and Fury isn't very liked, but he's 3 times the boxer AJ is. Oh yeah, I agree. Like he's more than 3 times. Although I feel like AJ can shock me. Because I don't know, man. I said this like 3 times already. He's got that Teo effect. He can really like surprise us, man. But
Who's Teo? What you mean by Teo effect? Like Teofimo Lopez or Terrell Owens?
oh my bad. Yeah. All 3 of them. No, Teofimo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what's the Teofimo effect? I've never heard of that saying.
He
just-
got that dog in him, bro. What do you mean?
No, he's just all in his emotions and isn't really
His dad
really
and him and his dad.
and just really not good with presentation. And that's what AJ is. Yeah. So that's what I mean. And Fury, Fury's just levels above everyone, not just AJ.
Yeah, you know what? Let's engage our dedicated listener, Mr. Liston. I do have to part ways with you, gentlemen, but I do want to just ask Mr. Liston. Mr. Liston, do you think that Wilder and Joshua is next? And if so, who do you think wins? And with that, I'll just wait the answer and then cash out my winnings.
Yeah. What was I saying?
Yeah, after that, it'll be a wrap, guys. So hopefully we can read Larry Liston's comment and perspective, and then
Mhm.
we'll
Oh
bounce out
yeah.
of here.
But yeah, man.
If he's
While we
still
wait,
here, I don't even know.
yeah, yeah. No, while we wait for that, I was just gonna say, um, Fury, Fury Usyk is really the fight I want, and yeah, man. AJ Wilder is the one I'm curious to see more than anything. But
What about
um,
Ruiz, man?
Ruiz has an X factor too, but I mean AJ made the correct adjustments for him and beat him, you know. So I think AJ is slightly above him. So
So
we can't
Mr.
really,
Larry Liston
yeah.
says, from what I heard, the fight isn't gonna happen. Isn't gonna be ready until March 2024. So I don't think it's next. AJ will have another tune-up. He's not ready for either.
Wow.
Ready either. Yeah.
Damn.
I agree. I mean, he's not going to be ready, but the money is. But we'll see if they take that.
That's funny. So one of you guys says either, the next guy says either, and I like to say like the French IDA.
Yeah, like Jesus Ramus.
G. Ramus.
Damn, until March 2024?
Wow, that's
Fuck,
the first
I
time I
hope
heard
not.
that. First
Fuck,
time I heard
dude.
March.
That would
Yeah.
suck.
Then even Wilder would have to need a tune-up because by then it would be 2 years of inactivity for that man.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, who do you
Well,
guys want to see? Anthony versus Andy Ruiz, the third fight, or Ruiz versus Wilder?
I say Ruiz versus Wilder.
So
Yeah.
Bo says Ruiz versus Wilder. Speed
Yeah.
Man.
agrees.
I think
I
so.
don't know.
Yeah.
What? Y'all crazy.
Something
No.
different, man.
Well,
Something different. It's
Ruiz
1-1.
has
They
to,
could
like-
always come back.
The Saudi stadium isn't ready till March 2024. That's the issue.
yeah. What is, man? These Saudis, they really like to spend money. I mean, I understand they got a bottomless well for that money, but didn't they build a stadium for Anthony Joshua's
Yeah.
first fight?
All that shit.
I don't know, but I know they built a bunch of stadiums for the FIFA World Cup, like and
Ah.
They don't use them anymore.
and now they're building like a badass strip of a bunch of homes like in a linear line. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, I forget what it was called.
Yeah,
It's
I
like a
forgot what
giant
it's called, but
trench.
It looks amazing.
It's like a trench. Or
Yeah,
something
it's
like
supposed
that.
to be like those little like what do they call it? Like 15-minute cities where everything
Mhm.
gets like,
Yeah.
transported like all fast like fucking Blade Runner type movies. Is it Blade Runner?
Mhm.
Look,
I don't
this
even
is
know.
this is crazy. Look.
No,
And so if there's going to be a postponement, a possible postponement,
Boomer.
if there's going to be a possible postponement for this Wilder versus Anthony Joshua fight, because of the time frame it's taken to complete this stadium, can you just imagine these guys are gambling on these guys signing on the bottom line that they will fight a fight in the future? And even though they haven't done that, they say, screw it, we'll just spend billions of dollars building the stadium whether you fight or not. Like, it's ridiculous. Like,
But where are these fights that already happened in terms of like Jake Paul, Tyson, Tommy Fury? There was another one.
Yeah, the ones
Weren't
that,
those already in Saudi, like in the Saudi stadiums? Like,
Yeah.
is this supposed to be like an amazing cathedral or what?
where they been happening at? There's already been fights at Saudi, so I'm like, where have they been at?
So is this stadium supposed to be even much more grand than the ones that they've been?
That's actually
that's
what I
what I'm.
heard.
That's what I'm saying.
Gotta do more research on that.
Yeah,
was
that's what I'm saying.
But even that is being pushed back. So we might have to wait for 2024 summertime. And that's what I meant.
I'm not gonna wait 2024. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna wait that long.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm just letting you guys know that I will not be watching it. No, I'm just kidding.
Me too, man. That makes two of us.
All right,
Oh,
guys.
God.
Well, on that note, thank you guys for hold on. One last comment. The Saudi money is gonna kill the heavyweight division. Trust me, boys. overinflated purses and guys waiting around for a big payday. Man,
I
they gotta
agree.
sell that ass to the highest bidder. That's what it is. On that note, guys, thank you, Drew, Ricky, Roar, and Speed for tonight's entertainment. I appreciate y'all, man. And I'll see y'all till the next one.
Hey, Mr. Listen, you're forgetting Mr. Listen.
And thank you as well, Mr. Liston, for always tuning in as well.
Thank you, Mr. Liston.
Gentlemen, always a pleasure.
All right, man.
Deuces, man.
Good night, guys.
Good night.